What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us today. Yet another edition of Throwback Thursday. Jeff, I know you've been enjoying the content as much as I've been enjoying digging through and putting it all up and together.
I'm not gonna lie. I was trepidatious watching this, especially my stuff. I hate watching my stuff, you know that. But it's been interesting to go back and watch it because, as I said, I become less of a dick as the shows go on Talk Wrestling, which is thank God I did because the first show was so bad. But man, you have been like reaching into the vault, man. I almost feel like I want to grab Mickey Mouse on SNL. I'm like, no, protect the content. They didn't sell. So man, such good stuff to watch, and today is no exception, sir.
Yes, thank you once again to Aaron Rift of the NoDQ YouTube channel, James Hebert of the JH95 / FTW Productions, Noel Foster from the Simple Man brand, and of course, you, good sir, for the
Yes,
Jeff Meacham Network, for allowing me access to all the content that was previously discussed in private
yes,
amongst all of you guys, because there are limitations about what can and can't be posted, but
yeah. Unfortunately,
especially a big thank you once again to Aaron Rift for allowing me access to the no DQ stuff. That stuff has really helped make the process and the Throwback Thursdays succeed and thrive, I think.
absolutely.
Sit back, relax, everybody, enjoy as we bring to you yet another week of Throwback Thursday content.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Hello pals, Alyssa Marino here, and as a friend of Parker Kane Promotions, I am super excited to share the awesomeness that they've got in store for you this November at WrestleCade. You'll be seeing the world-traveling Capital Championship Wrestling Global Fighting Champ Rebecca J. Scott, a rising star who's been featured on Ladies Night Out, MCW, and more, the stunner Emily J., an internationally traveled talent who you've seen on NXT UK and Stardom, Angel of the Ring Zaya Brookside, and NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion Chicago's sweetheart Missa Kate will also be appearing live. It's all going down WrestleCade weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You can catch these stars brought to you by Parker Kane Promotions on Saturday, November 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And be sure to stick around for Ladies Night Out the following day on Sunday, November 26th. You can get your WrestleCade weekend tickets at WrestleCade.com.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we are back, finally, with another edition of the NoDQ Review, and I am Virtue, with the A-Team, Jeff Meacham, Greg Cherry, and Mr. Aaron Rhodes. Rift. Aaron, what's up, man? You know what? You lost me there. Why do you have blonde hair?
Well, first of all, it's Rift Shady, not Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had longer hair. Mine's pretty short. But the reason for the change was I got 490 live viewers on Sunday night for the Extreme Rules video. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go ahead and do something crazy and bleach my hair for the summer. And that's what I did. So here we are.
Nice. All right, Jeff. I might laugh for a few minutes there. But anyway, how's it going, Jeff?
I'm good. I got new glasses. I can actually see you guys this week. Last week was kind of shady there, Aaron. Ha. Rift Shady, I like that. Yeah, it was a little bit blurry there, but I can see you guys pretty good now. Looking forward to talking about everything but the first topic. First topic, I'm kind of like, whatever, let's just get it over with at this point.
And Greg, tell everybody that you are how many days now?
I believe it's 130 now as Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion. Still the longest reigning champion. Season 5 debuts, was it tomorrow or Friday, Aaron?
Friday.
All right. Now I heard a rumor that you're stepping down from the hosting duties. Is that a valid statement?
I've heard the rumor and innuendo. We'll have to wait and see what happens. You'll have to tune in to find out.
Okay.
Interesting. To be continued. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun,
Let's get on with the NoDQ review. And Jeff, we're gonna start with our quick recap. And Aaron, I know you've already done it. WWE Extreme, or maybe not so extreme, rules. So I just want everybody's final thoughts and your letter grade. Aaron, I didn't even listen to your letter grade because I wanted to be surprised on this video. So you know what? Get it out of the way. I'll start with you first.
Well, I actually forgot what letter grade I gave the show.
Grave is the word.
It might have changed.
Yeah, really, this show was in the grave pretty much, 6 feet under. I don't remember what I gave it. I think I gave the show a D, actually, or maybe a D plus. I'm not. Maybe I gave it a C. See, I don't remember. I did like Owens and Strowman, the cage match. I did like AJ versus Rusev. So there were a couple things on the show I liked, but there were a lot of things I did not like. I think looking back on it after a few days, yeah, maybe a C minus, D plus, somewhere around there. Jeff?
Gotta agree. Right in that C minus D plus bubble there, just because this card actually looked like it could be something decent on paper. The build was absolutely god awful, as it has been for the last few months with WWE pay-per-views. But on paper, when you look at this card sheet, and go, hey, it actually looked like a pretty good show. And for the most part, it wasn't. There was a few bright spots. AJ Rusev was good. The Iron Man match was good, except the finish was kind of what it was. And the cage match was intense, and it was what it was. But yes, C minus D plus. I'm kind of on the fence on either side there.
Greg,
same grade, C minus. I also enjoyed it, along with matches you guys listed. I enjoyed Alexa Nia too for what it was. Wasn't their best match, but I still enjoyed it. I don't know what it is about Carmella's title reign. I like Carmella. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy her heel attitude. Like, her personality is fantastic, and she's not that bad in the ring for as much crap as people give her. But like the way her title reign has been booked, I don't know. Like, it makes sense as a heel, but in the same time, it's very weak how this stuff happens.
You think Ellsworth has totally ruined it?
No, I don't put the blame on Ellsworth. I just think it's oddly booked and makes her opponents look terrible.
Gotcha. And what stood out, though, the most, like if you had to pick one thing? The Owens bump?
Yeah, it put me reminiscent of the King of the Ring Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Which also took place in Pittsburgh.
Which is so funny because Mick Foley has said for 20 years you'll never see a bump like that again, and here we are.
Same city.
Well, Mick didn't have an airbag though underneath the table like KO did.
But you know what, the fact of the matter is it's safety first. But the thing is, it's still of the realm of, do we really need to have that value of shock TV or shock value to actually be entertaining? It's like, yeah, it was a cool bump, and yeah, there's a crash pad there, but stuff can happen. Even with a crash pad, things can go wrong. Why do we need to throw Kevin Owens to the wolves there?
What do you think of Braun losing the match because he threw him off? Does it? I mean, you know how we have always talked when you have the Money in the Bank briefcase and you lose matches. Now I know that's not a traditional loss there, but
right? Exactly.
Do you think that kind of made it awkward?
No, not at all.
No. I think Braun doing what he did to Kevin shows that he probably had it back in his head. Well, you know what? If he whatever, I throw him off the cage, I'll lose because he left the floor first. He doesn't care. He doesn't need to win any other match right now except the one for the contract. He wins that match, he's Money in the Bank. He's got the championship. He can go on an 0-39 or whatever streak. As long as he wins the title, he doesn't care. He doesn't have to care.
With someone like a monster like him, though, as long as he's not getting pinned or tapping out, right?
Exactly. Fluke losses, like having the guy go to the floor first because you threw him there, not a big deal.
See, there was just enough on Extreme Rules. Remember, I came back from Disney World and that day.
Exactly.
So I'm all happy, right? And then I get to watch Extreme Rules. So I think I had enough Disney World left in me. I give it a C+.
Right.
But what I give a F was that crowd during the main event. And this is the next topic I want to go to because
Greg got something to say before we move on.
Go ahead.
Going back to Braun and Kevin Owens, I think that, and maybe I'm just looking into this too much, I'm thinking that this might actually lead to a babyface turn for Kevin Owens. That Braun put him through so much crap, and he won the cage match, albeit by being thrown off the top of it, that Kevin Owens will come back, like there'll be like some sort of respect there that Braun put him through all that, and Kevin just like kept coming, you know? So I think it could be interesting to see a Kevin Owens babyface run. I
would rather see that than a chicken shit heel.
Yeah, Kevin honestly was that super monster villain. You threw everything but the kids again, and he still came back to kill you. Kevin Owens was still coming back. He wouldn't die. He had to literally be thrown off the cage to die. So, it's,
Good points. Well, so we're the 30-minute Iron Man match. So first of all, I hate how they call 30 minutes Iron Man. After you have an hour, I get it that they did it with the women's matches, but they could have made it an hour. But again, what pissed me off was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here's my problem. Roman gets crapped on every one of his matches by the live crowd in attendance. Jinder Roman, Bobby Lashley Roman, and the internet speaks and says it's justified. He sucks. We don't want him as a champ. He can't cut a promo. He gets blown up 2 minutes into his match. Whatever. And then we see their darlings like Seth Rollins in a match, the live crowd in Pittsburgh crapping on them, and now the internet comes to, it's like they're hypocritical. They're saying, you people are idiots. You should respect these. So what does everybody think about a hypocritical crowd? Now, this topic was brought to me by Tito. Everybody knows who Tito is. So, Aaron, I'm going to start with you. Him and I think I agree with him. We agree it's hypocritical. Don't you think?
Well, I think that, first of all, that Pittsburgh crowd was one of the worst Raw crowds of the year, or should I say pay-per-view crowds of the year.
It's like a Raw.
Yeah, Greg, not your city's finest moment, I have to say. And I think that, it doesn't really make the fans look good when they complain about Roman Reigns and they crap on his matches, but then aren't they supposed to like the matches of the guys they want to see in the main event? So when you're crapping on a Seth Rollins match, you're basically telling Vince, you know what, these fans, they don't know what they want. It just further justifies Vince's push for Roman Reigns, because Vince's attitude is, well, the fans don't know what they want. I know what the fans want better than they do. And look at Seth Rollins. They crapped on his match, even though he's supposedly the internet darling. So, yeah, I don't think it was a very, very wise thing for those fans to do if they really want to see Seth Rollins getting the Roman Reigns push. I was definitely disappointed with that. I think the booking for the match was terrible too. Are we going to talk about that? Like how there were so many falls in that match?
Well, yeah, like by the 15-minute mark, it was like 4-3 or something like that. Insane.
Yeah, and on Raw there was 30 minutes with no falls whatsoever until the 30 minutes. So I mean, come on now, you got to be able to suspend disbelief. All of a sudden they're having 7 falls in 15 minutes. If it was a 1-hour match, maybe I'd let it slide. But a 30-minute match, 7 falls in 15 minutes. I thought was a bit over the top, but that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Greg, your town, what happened here, man?
Well, I wasn't there, so you can't blame me. Here's the thing, and I'm not going to say...
Speak for your people.
I believe there is some sort of hypocrisy with, like, chants and whatnot going on during wrestlers' matches. But there's also hypocrisy from the fans who talk about the Raw after WrestleMania crowds being awesome because it's like, oh, they're so into it. It's so random. It's so fun. And then, like, you know, you see a crowd do this to other wrestlers, and it's like, oh, no, this is terrible. It's disrespecting the crowd. You know, which is it? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's either disrespecting the wrestlers all the time or it's a crowd having fun all the time. You can't pick and choose based on who's in the ring. You just can't do it. Now, do I condone the Pittsburgh crowd doing the countdown during the match? No. That's Philadelphia's fault, by the way, because they started at the Rumble and the pre-show, if you remember that. Secondly, the booking of the Iron Man match was a little strange. I think it should have been 1 fall in overtime. I know I said 3-2 on the prediction show, but it should have been 1 fall in overtime. The two of them not giving up. Like, it makes both of them look terrible. It's like, wow, you got beaten 4 or 5 times in half an hour. It's like, you're not that great at all. But, Aaron, to your point where you say that, you know, the crowd reactions, you know, it's like, oh, why would we want to watch a Rollins match? I don't think that crowd reaction had anything to do with what happened the following Raw. I don't think it had any bearing. Like, I think we were going to get Reigns and Lashley, whether that crowd was incredibly hot for the main event or not. Like, I don't think the crowd reactions matter to Vince McMahon, honestly. At least in that aspect. Like, if they're cheering stuff, if they're chanting for stuff, fine. I don't think it has any bearing on what happens on the shows. It really doesn't.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
Exactly. I mean, and the old adage, you pay for your ticket, you can do what you want. Yeah, you can. In some instances, you look like a jackass. So Pittsburgh, you know, get it together for the next show. But, like, I'm not completely burying people, like, 3-4 days later about, you know, the Pittsburgh crowd. It's like, would you rather, you know, the crowd just be sitting on their hands, sitting in silence, watching for half an hour and not reacting to anything at all? That would be worse. And also, that Pittsburgh crowd was chanting "Burn It Down" for Seth Rollins a few times during that match. Like, they were into the match, but they were having fun with the clock. Like, don't completely discount the crowd just because of the countdown. Was it annoying? Yeah. But don't completely bury them because of that. They had to deal with the rest of Extreme Rules as well. Okay,
that is true. So if Rollins and Ziggler are going to be mad at anyone, maybe they should be mad at the people that put the show together in the first place, to the point where the fans were that restless that they had to do something to keep themselves entertained.
Jeff, your thoughts? And I like the end of that match up until the sudden death But, you know, again, wrestling logic, Seth had all that energy to hit the curb stomp and all that momentum, and there was like 7 seconds left on the clock when he hit it, but he fell into the corner and was too weak to make the cover because I think they did it a little too quick, and he had to make a weak pin attempt when it was too late. I would have rather have seen him win the Intercontinental title the last second. That would have been, to me, that would have been cool.
Well, before Jeff gives his thoughts, I did mention on my review that I think it should have ended with Ziggler running and going into the crowd and getting counted out, or not getting counted out, just waiting for the time to expire. And then that's when Kurt Angle would come out and put it into overtime. That way, Ziggler's trying to take the easy way out. Instead, Rollins just failed. He couldn't get the job done, but then Kurt gives him another chance, and then he still blows it. So even though there was interference. But Jeff, your thoughts on it?
First off, the booking of the match, Virtue, you mentioned they should always be an hour. I think we can look back on the WWE Network for just $9.99, by the way, and check out Ricky Steamboat versus Rick Rude and Rick Rude versus Dustin Rhodes to see 2 great 30-minute Iron Man matches from WCW. They can be done in 30 minutes if they're done right. A 4 to 3.5 hour or whatever it was, whatever the final score was, is way too many falls in the course of a half hour. That's ridiculous. Like Greg said, it makes him look, well, if this guy can beat 4 times in 30 minutes, I can beat him right now. It makes him look weak. As far as the crowd goes, I'm not going to sit here and be Chris Jericho and say, well, we invented that. I do not remember crowds hijacking a match or trying to hijack a match or trying to chant or whatever until I went to my first independent PWG show. Because that was the first time I ever heard the dueling chants. Cheer for one guy, cheer for the other guy. And Aaron would chant them, make up your mind, because it was so annoying.
Let me ask you this, Jeff, because I've never been to a PWG show. Do they let the fans right up to the ring?
Yes.
And tap on the ring?
Yes.
They did. I don't know if they still do. They did.
I think
when we were
that
going.
could have, it makes the crowd feel like they're part of the show.
Right, and that's wonderful. But I have never been a fan of the dueling chants or the hijack chants. I think it is disrespectful 100% of the way. Yes, you pay for your ticket. Yes, you can do what you want within legalities, within things like that. But I think chanting for the sake of chanting or chanting for one guy or doing chants just is disrespectful and shows the 2 people or the 4 people, whatever, in the ring, you care less about what they're doing than making yourself look like a complete, I'm a fan, I can do what I want. You look like a jackass and you make them feel about this big in the ring. And it's crap. And I've hated it for years. And I'm glad this is coming up now in front of the world here that I can say it. I think the dueling chant, I think the hijack chants are complete bullshit. And I think that people that partake in it are just over the top and too much.
Yeah, I agree. And, what I take away from the main event the most is I am kind of happy for Dolph Ziggler because we know he got his big contract, so he's getting paid, right? Who cares how he gets booked, right? Intercontinental Championship, it's not the title, but I guess it is with no Universal title on
Exactly.
Raw. Dolph was in the main event as a champion. So, that's my takeaway from it. Good for him.
And it was the first time the IC title has been the main event in a very long time, so it was very cool.
Yeah, I think it was the first one-on-one main event for the IC title since the 92 SummerSlam. I know there were matches where the IC title was in the main event, but they were multi-man matches. I think this was the first one-on-one match.
I think that was the last advertised. I think the actual main event of In Your House October, whatever one that Sean forfeited to Douglas and then Douglas lost to Razor, I think that was the last match of the night.
No, it wasn't. The last match, it was Diesel and somebody.
Wrestling Trivia Challenge.
It was, who was it? It was Diesel and Bulldog or somebody like that, and Brett was at ringside. That was the main event.
I thought it was Brett and Bulldog. Brett was champion at the time.
No, Brett wasn't champion going into that. Diesel was still champion in October '95.
Yeah,
there were so many in your house.
I think it was Diesel versus the British Bulldog. Bret Hart was on commentary, and then they did the pie face. I remember that because it was used in the Raw intro in '96, and that's what set up Brett versus Diesel at Survivor Series. Maybe I need to challenge Greg.
Well, speaking of Diesel, do you like this dynamic of McIntyre and Ziggler? Because we all know it's getting the HBK Diesel comparisons. Anybody?
I love it. I love it. Love every bit of it.
I kind of do too. But I can't speak on it yet because I want to see it more. You know what I mean? And I hope they do it. I hope it's good.
I think if they continue to do it, and then when they do the split, it's amicable, not a breakdown and a fight. Let them split off and say, respect you, but I'm the best. No, I'm the best. And then they go off and do their thing, and they come back together eventually to prove who's the best.
Good point. And you know what? Why not? Because it's always about two friends or tag teams breaking up, right?
Drew is just too good to not be in that title hunt, man. He's been too good for too long.
Well, speaking of title hunt, maybe he'll one day get a shot at the Universal title, Brock Lesnar. So finally on Raw, Paul Heyman says Brock will defend at SummerSlam. And right now it's going to be either Reigns or Lashley or potentially both, depending on how they book that match. So here's the key pieces. We know it's going to be Lesnar defending the Universal title at SummerSlam. It's going to be Lesnar versus Reigns or Lesnar versus Lashley or both. And where does Braun come into play? Maybe with the Money in the Bank. Greg, I'm going to start with you. What are we going to get at SummerSlam?
See, here's my problem with this match on Raw. Why not just make the Extreme Rules match for this? Instead of like giving people the hope, it's like, oh, we could see Finn, or we could see McIntyre, or even Elias or Rollins in the title picture. It's like, nope, the two guys that you didn't want in the title picture, which I don't have a problem with Lashley. Like, I actually want to see Lashley versus Lesnar.
Yeah.
Some people don't. I do. I want to see that match. I've wanted to see that match since Lashley debuted in 2005. Like, I've wanted to see that match. But I just don't know why they would go through the whole rigmarole of the triple threats when you know that it's going to be Lashley and Reigns. It's like, why did you just waste our 3 hours by giving us the same match you gave us last night? You know, I don't get it.
It's like they book house shows, Greg.
Yeah, it is what it is. I hope Lashley wins next week, straight up, and Reigns can find something else to do for SummerSlam. Maybe he can face McIntyre in a one-on-one, and McIntyre can beat him. I don't know. I don't book for them, so don't ask me.
All right, Jeff. Everybody expected Reigns to be the Universal Champion at WrestleMania, and here we are now, just wondering: is this a UFC thing? Is this Vince doesn't trust the heat that Roman's going to get if he wins it? What do you think?
I have been thinking about this since Sunday because, for the record, I did not get to see Extreme Rules until the day we taped this because I was on vacation. I took a vacation. I was away from wrestling, period, for a week. It was actually kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. No wrestling all week except for network stuff. Like I didn't watch current wrestling. It was actually very refreshing. I have the sneaking suspicion that they're going to give us what we want, but not the way that we envisioned it, not the way we actually do want it. I think that Reigns is finally going to get the win over Lesnar and send him off to the Octagon to go train for his January fight. Aaron, right? January good fight,
or February, or something like that.
Whatever it is, he gave me the Octagon in January. That's what I heard. So, yeah. And then Reigns is celebrating the big moment, just like Bryan had at SummerSlam 5 years before, Money in the Bank. Strowman cashes in. Strowman goes forward as champion, as the heel champion, rather than Lesnar. I don't know. I honestly would like to see something else happen, but I have this just god-awful feeling in this heartburn area of my gut that just they're going to book it that way just to piss us off.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, so is that a bad? I mean, so if Roman wins the Universal title and loses it right away to Braun, don't we like Braun? I mean, are we supposed to like Braun like Stone Cold type?
We like Braun, but then we're going to have to get Reigns chasing Braun for 3 months, and Reigns is still in the damn picture.
Oh, that's what you're looking at. Okay.
Yeah, he's looking at the big picture here. I just don't like Strowman being the Money in the Bank holder. I said this a long time ago.
That's awful from Jump Street. Exactly. It's terrible.
It doesn't fit with his character. His character is not going to take that cheap route to win the title. He's going to go face-to-face, man-to-man. He wants a guy at 100%. He doesn't want to win a title cheaply. That's just how I see the character, at least.
Now, Aaron, think about it this way. The two guys that we knew did not need to be sneaky Money in the Bank people announced their cash-in. Van Dam and Cena.
Yeah.
Everybody else that's been Money in the Bank has had that sneaky, suspicious nature to them.
Right.
It works for them.
Could Braun just say, I mean, obviously not now because it's too early, couldn't he just say, I want the main event at WrestleMania and then hand that briefcase to Kurt Angle? You know what I mean?
He could, but and that makes complete sense. So why would they do it?
It ain't going to happen because it makes too much sense. Greg?
Greg has his hand up out there.
There is. I posted this on Twitter, so if you don't follow me at PA Sensation, you didn't see this tweet. But I posed a scenario which I think would probably be the greatest cash-in the history of the world. You have your Cormier Lesnar fight at UFC 200. Who cares? And then, regardless of whether Lesnar wins the UFC Heavyweight Championship or not, you have Joe Rogan in the middle of the octagon interviewing Brock, and all of a sudden, over the PA speakers, Braun, and like Rogan's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And because he hates wrestling. And then Strowman walks in with a WWE official in the octagon, cashes in Money in the Bank, and beats Brock.
That would make too much sense
awesome.
if Brock got his butt kicked and lost and was bloody and beaten. That would be beautiful. If he won, I could never see Dana White letting his new champion get stooge like that. But I see it, though, Greg. I could see part of it.
I would love for that to happen, and I would love for Dana White and Vince to have that collective foresight and go, we can get every eyeball in our business on this stuff, and they won't do it. They won't do it.
I think there's a better chance.
Like that. That is the only way it makes sense to me for it to happen.
I know.
But
I know.
If Dana White, who was at WrestleMania last year, probably because of Rousey, but if Dana White and Vince McMahon were like, we could get like everybody talking about this moment for years and years to come. You might like annoy the UFC fan base a little bit because of a wrestling stunt. Well, yeah, I mean, UFC
like a lot, yeah.
You'd annoy them for doing a wrestling stunt in the middle of the octagon. But at the same time, they're down. Like UFC's numbers have not been drawing well, so you need something big to talk about. And Lesnar is a draw still.
Yeah, I think it would just kill the credibility of the sport of MMA, though.
Well, if Braun cashed in as Cormier and Brock were actually fighting, yes, that'd
be really
but if
bad.
It was like after the decision of the real fight, Greg, I can't disagree with you, man.
2018 NoDQ.com headline of the year, right there.
Yeah, but let's face it, I think there's a better chance of Chris Benoit going into the Hall of Fame than that happening.
Look at you. Well, speaking of
just bring the show
look at the segue, though.
With the B word.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, Hulk Hogan was
segues
added back to the Hall of Fame page on WWE.com or however they do that. Hogan is back, and of course, snowball effect. Some sensitive people in the locker room. Titus O'Neil. I don't know if I heard anybody else. Is this too soon for Hogan? And yes, he said words. He said racial words, but he apologized. You know what I mean? So today in our society, we say one thing in the spur of the moment in privacy. He did it in privacy. And we are subject to that. That becomes who we are. I just don't like where our world is today. So I forgive Hogan. I believe his apology. If he comes out and says racist things again, he's a racist. But he's been clean, right?
Right.
Haven't heard him say anything crazy. Aaron, I'll start with you. Is this too soon? Does the locker room have the right to be sensitive? And what's Hogan's role going to be?
Well, I can understand them being upset, but at the same time, business is business. And let's face it, who did New Day work with at WrestleMania in 2016?
The legends.
Naming
Austin, Michaels, and Foley.
Steve Austin, didn't he have some issues with Deborah? Slapping her, throwing her across the room, according to Deborah. Yet they worked with him. So
wasn't Shawn Michaels a legendary bad everything until he found Christ?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of wrestlers have some issues, and Hogan said something that was uncalled for. I mean, nobody's denying that, but at the same time, at some point you got to say it's time to move on here, and it's not like Hogan physically attacked somebody or raped somebody or killed somebody. I feel like it's time to let the past go, and if Hogan is sincerely trying to rectify the situation, I say let him do it. Now, of course, there's always going to be the people that think, well, Hogan is just doing this for the money. He's trying to clear his name because he wants to be able to collect a big paycheck, and that very well could be the case, and that's unfortunate. But my gut feeling is he's trying to better himself as a person. I don't know the guy personally, but just from what I've heard and what he said, I feel like he wants to make this right, and he feels bad about what he said. And I think we all have the ability to grow as human beings. We all make mistakes. All of us here, I'm sure, at some point said something really offensive to somebody, and you feel bad about it, and you just got to grow as a person. And even at somebody at Hogan's age, I think like he has time to grow, and people make mistakes even when they're old. They still make mistakes, and they still have to evolve as human beings. So my
And let's
feeling
not
is
forget,
it's time.
and
to
let's
let go.
not forget, Hogan came up in an era where we had promos from Greg the Hammer Valentine. We all know what Booker T said to him, so everybody does it.
Vince?
Everybody does stuff they don't. Yeah, and Vince was scripted.
Of course, it was
Greg?
it was comedic in nature, but still.
But he still said it on the air at that.
I mean, you guys are collecting paychecks from a guy that would say something like that on his pay-per-view.
All right, Greg.
This is probably the realest and deepest conversation we'll ever have on this show. So, take notes. What Hogan said was, not appropriate, obviously. That kind of speech is not appropriate in this day and age, and it really wasn't appropriate in any day and age. The fact of the matter is this. This society, and Virtue, you touched on this, remembers people for the worst things that they've done in their life, and that is their legacy.
Yep.
And Aaron, I know you don't watch sports, but I'm using an example here. Joe Paterno of Penn State football.
Good example. Yes, great example.
He was a legendary coach for 50 years, and then one of his staff mates, it wasn't even him, had inappropriate relations with children. And his legacy was tarnished. That's what they remember him by, and he passed away like 2 months later after they fired him. It was a terrible situation, and also Chris Benoit. Yeah, what he did was terrible. What he did was absolutely terrible. But like that action, his legacy is being a murderer. His wrestling career is virtually forgotten by a lot of fans today just because of the association. The things that people do wrong are their defining legacy in this world. And it's a very sad thing. And we're going to do the same thing to Hogan. Like, this society needs to be more forgiving for people's mistakes because we all make them.
Right.
I make them.
Yeah.
Jeff makes them. Virtue makes them. Aaron makes them. We've all made mistakes. We've all done stupid stuff in our life. We've said stupid stuff. We've done stupid stuff. We all do it.
Yeah.
We have to be more accepting of people's failures because we can't tear them down for their failures. We have to help them get back to a level where they don't make those failures again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And for a lot of us, we might say something really offensive at one point in our lives, and fortunately, we're not being recorded. In Hogan's case, he was recorded, and that's something that's always going to be there now. It'll never go away because that recording exists. But imagine if one of us had said something really offensive and it got recorded and it was all over the internet. It would be all that more difficult to get past it. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of us are guilty of doing offensive things, making mistakes. And, I've said my piece on it. Jeff, your thoughts on the Hogan situation? I know, like me, you grew up on Hogan. He's been a big part of your life. And how are you handling all this?
I'm gonna be a little long-winded here, so I'm sorry, Virtue. We're going past the hour. We're going past the hour tonight, Virtue.
All right.
Okay. First of all, what he said, the actual words he used, and I'm treading water here, so I'm trying to be careful here. Terry Bollea grew up in a society in a part of the country where that wasn't necessarily an actual derogatory term. It was just the way they were referred to by everybody else. And actually people in the neighborhood that were of all colors called everybody those words just in passing, like, hey, Edward, hey, whatever. They just did that. It wasn't seen as bad. It was what it was. I'm not excusing it. I'm explaining it. Big difference.
Yes.
And Jeff, to your point, in the 80s and early 90s, but rap was getting big, and that was making that language mainstream.
Aaron will appreciate this part of my story. We did an angle in Epic War with Gary, Aaron. You'll remember this.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the word here. I'm not meaning it. Don't everybody come with hate mail.
Uh-oh, here we
go. Gary had a trio in his federation called the Negro Division. It was a group of 3 guys as a tag team. The guys all were into it. They made Gary an honorary NIGGA. They called him the honorary. They did. It was just part of the joke. It was, for some reason, and maybe this is just me being the whitest guy in the room. They're allowed to call each other that, but nobody else is.
Well, the thing is, too, it's the context of it with like Vince, and with the faction, it's more humor and comedy.
Right.
But what Hogan said, people see it as his real feelings and him, not joking
and you
around.
know what? And in the time that he grew up and was raised by very, very Southern white parents, I can only imagine him having his daughter date somebody he didn't necessarily approve of based on his upbringing. I could see where that would mess with his head, and where at a time where his kid is in jail and he's completely panicking about everything, verbal diarrhea.
And he was also at the lowest point of his life, and he was angry. And when
he was at a point in his life,
they think of the worst things to say about somebody when they're angry.
Is the point of his life where he was sitting in his bathroom on a chair with a bottle of Xanax, a bottle of rum, and a gun in his hand. Okay, he was that far gone at that point. Okay, he was completely off the rails. Again, not excusing, just explaining.
Well, I don't know about the gun part. That might just be to sell books. Who knows?
Well, from what I've, okay, whatever. I talked to Jimmy Hart about this at length. I talked to him not too long ago, maybe a month ago. So I didn't know this is going to happen yet. But Jimmy has told me every single time I talk to Jimmy that Hulk feels absolutely horrible about not only the fact that he said it, but the fact that it was taken completely out of context and made to not only bury his legacy, but to make the fans, the Hulkamaniacs, think that he was some racist person. Hulk Hogan is not. I don't know if Terry Bollea is a racist. I don't know if he is or not. I know for a fact that Hulk Hogan, the character, is anything but. He's a superhero, and I don't know if I'm glad he's being reinstated. I'm happy as a Hulkamaniac. I'm happy he's back. But I completely understand why Kofi and the New Day and Titus had to put out those statements.
Yeah. And who's one of Hogan's best buddies, by the way?
Mr. T, exactly.
Dennis Rodman, too. And
Dennis Rodman as well.
Didn't Rodman win the Hogan's Championship Wrestling Series?
Yeah, Rodman, the minute this came out, Rodman was like, Hogan. He stood right by him every step of the way. And to be honest, more black friends of his did the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think Mr. T did also.
Yeah, it's funny, amazing how the people he was being derogatory toward rallied around Hogan.
Right.
And everybody deserves a redemption story. I mean,
everybody, the 4 of us in this room have all made mistakes. Aaron, yours and mine must have been on the air over the last 15 years. But playing with little kids, if you will. It's just stuff happens. Bad things happen. Good people do bad things. But everybody deserves a shot at an opportunity at redemption. And I think that if Hulk can show the locker room and show the fans and show the universe and show everybody he's involved with that he truly is not the person he was made out to be, and earns this reinstatement, then I'll be happier about it. Now, let me say one more thing before we move on. And I saw this on social media today, so I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. If we can reinstate Hulk Hogan for using the N-word in the Hall of Fame, it's time to stop bullshitting and put China in. It's time to stop bullshitting and put her in the Hall of Fame.
That's a great point.
She did adult films. Oh, no. She made money and good money off it. Put her in the goddamn Hall of Fame already.
Look at Sonny, for crying out loud.
Look at Sonny. Sonny did it after she got the ring, for Christ's sakes. And they haven't disbarred her from, kicked her out yet.
Actually,
screwing around, damn it.
As far as I can tell, Hogan is not a repeat offender. And if he was and he was still saying racist things, then sorry, bye-bye. You're done. But he's not. I'm excited to see his first appearance on television. We know
Me
it's
too,
probably
man.
it's going to
Can't
be
wait.
the entrance. I don't know. Is it going to be the flashy entrance, or is he going to come out all somber? I mean, I'm very curious on how the tone of his voice and what he's going to say. We might not say anything for a while, Jeff, but
I think we
I'm
get the
excited
big.
for that.
I think we get the big Real American, the hand, the cup, everything, and he gets in the ring. And first of all, brothers, it's good to be back. Real soft, real calm, real quiet, and then, well, let me tell you something, brother, and he gets into it. That's it. Just a brief little second of serious, and then boom, into the Hulk spiel.
Does anybody have an idea of like a good time for him to show up, or a plan, an angle, anything?
No sleep till Brooklyn, brother. No sleep till Brooklyn, man. Put him as the host of SummerSlam again, or something like that.
There
something
you go.
similar to that.
Brooklyn's a good place for that.
No better
What
place
about-
than the New York market for Hulk Hogan, brother.
What about this? What about have him show up involving Velveteen Dream? I don't know why I thought that, but NXT.
Because of the, you know what?
And Velveteen Dream is African American. I mean, why not?
And Velveteen, that's the other thing. A black guy wore the Hogan gear in NXT TakeOver. Come on, folks. It's all right there for us.
I'm excited. I hope something good happens out of him being back. It should.
I hope to God it happens by November so Aaron and I can see him live.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good talk.
Anyway, all right. I know I went off the
Greg,
rails there. Sorry about that.
Greg, you nailed it with that was awesome. Everybody did. All right, so let's talk some more about Daniel Bryan. He's back wrestling. We always like to talk about him every week. Someone asked this on Twitter. Where do we think Daniel Bryan would be today if he didn't have to take the 3 years off because of his injuries? We know what they're doing with him now. Finally, we're getting a better tease with him and Miz, or actually maybe it's just going to full out happen. So, Aaron, I want to start with you. Where do you think he would be if he didn't have to retire? And are we ready for him and the Miz now? Finally, I've been waiting impatiently.
Well, are we talking about his 2014 injury as well, or just the injury that put him out?
The one that put him out right after he won the Intercontinental title, WrestleMania 31.
Because I believe with that first injury, that's why they were a little bit hesitant about really pushing him strongly, and that's why they had him go for the IC title instead, just as a precaution thing. They didn't want to put him back in the WWE title picture when he might get injured again, and as it turns out, he did get injured again. So it's really hard to say. I think they would have slowly built him back up, but with all those injuries in late 2015, 2016, I think he would have been right back up there in the main events and maybe feuding with Jericho and feuding with AJ Styles. Those matches definitely would have happened, I think, sooner, and they're just starting to happen now. So that's what I think. But these what-if questions, I think, are really difficult to answer. Greg, your thoughts on it?
Well, part of the thing of his feud with The Miz, if Bryan hadn't retired, we would not have gotten that classic talking smack moment. Yep. Because Bryan wouldn't have been the general manager. He would have just been another wrestler. So we would not have got that confrontation, at least not in that setting. We wouldn't have got that. We wouldn't have got that moment if Bryan hadn't retired. So, in that sense, I'm thankful for that because we got that moment. But if Bryan hadn't retired, would he be back at the top of the title picture? Would he at least be in main event status? Yeah, of course he would. I mean, he was one of the biggest stars, one of the biggest, I'd say, natural stars, naturally supported stars.
Organic.
Generation. Organic, thank you. One of the most organic stars of this generation. And it's going to take him a while, I think, even still, now that he's back, it's going to take him a while to reach that level again, just because he's been booked in feuds with Big Cass and the Bludgeon Brothers. So it's like, we want Daniel Bryan in a match we want to see, and a match against The Miz is something we want to see. I expect that at WrestleMania. It looks like it might happen at SummerSlam. So I was wrong. Sue me. So I'm looking forward to see what he does next, and if he does sign a new deal, they'll probably put him in more epic feuds. I'm sure we're all looking forward to a Daniel Bryan Shinsuke Nakamura feud. Like that. He said he's wanted that before Nakamura even came to WWE. So we'll hopefully finally get to see that. Jeff?
Well, before we go to you, Jeff, Craig, I had a question for you. I believe if he would have never got hurt, if he would have got over his injuries from 2014, 15, and he stayed healthy, and again, what if, Aaron, it's hard to predict. I think he would have won at least one, if not two, of the past Royal Rumbles since then. I really think he had that WrestleMania electricity, and I think Vince McMahon, they knew it. I think from WrestleMania 30, they knew it. I think he would have headlined a couple WrestleManias. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, if he hadn't gotten injured, he might have won a Royal Rumble or at least been in contention, or possibly in the last couple of years, he might have turned heel to see how, like, not like the whole no gimmick, but like a complete overhaul circa Chris Jericho 2008 to just like completely change his gimmick, cut the yes and the no chance out, and just like become like this serious.
The American Dragon again.
Yeah, essentially. So
I would have liked that.
That couldn't happen, but the yes movement is still over to this day. So why cut something short that's still popular?
I think if he hadn't gotten hurt when he was the world champion, I think they would have built toward him and Lesnar at SummerSlam instead of him, Cena and Lesnar, and it would have been Lesnar destroying Bryan and however many suplexes it was. I think I said that back then, didn't I, Aaron?
Yeah.
I said it 4 years ago.
I believe that was the original plan.
I think it was, and I think that they would have built up toward Bryan winning that Rumble that he didn't win, that everybody thought he should win in 2015, and then beating Lesnar for the title back at WrestleMania and having the big moment again at Mania for the second year in a row. Now, coming back in 15, winning the IC title and then getting hurt, had he not gotten the injuries and remained Intercontinental Champion, he probably would have been Intercontinental Champion for a while. That's my gut feeling. I think he would have been a long-term Intercontinental Champion because that's the workhorse title, and I dare say there was no better workhorse in WWE at that time than Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So that would have been the way to go for me if it had been me booking. If he hadn't got hurt in 14 or hadn't got hurt in 15 and kept the IC title, he would have been a long-term Intercontinental Champion.
And they had Piper endorsing him, which is pretty sad because that was Piper's last WrestleMania moment. They
had a whole group of IC champions endorsing him in that segment. So Brett, Patterson, Razor, I think, was there too. So Steamboat, exactly. So that was a very cool moment that immediately crapped out because he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I think the endorsements would have led him toward a long, healthy reign had he remained healthy. But like Greg said, without the injury, there's no general manager Bryan. Without general manager Bryan, there's no Talking Smack segment with Miz, and that was just pure gold from both of them.
And here we are right in the middle of a Daniel Bryan and Miz feud, probably for SummerSlam.
Yep. And you know what? It pains me that Greg was not right, kind of. Because I would have not wanted it to be at SummerSlam. I would have wanted it in the middle of the Staples Center personally for selfish reasons. So,
right. Well, maybe they will have another match. Maybe they'll captain their own Survivor Series teams for Survivor Series.
As long as I get Daniel Bryan in the middle of the Staples Center ring, I'll be happy at Survivor Series. I honestly will.
Unless he gets hurt, I think there's a. Well, of course, there's the contract. There's the contract too, but I believe
he'll resign. He'll resign.
Well, since we're talking about Daniel Bryan, I want to briefly talk about 205 Live. I have not watched it since, Aaron, you talked about this on your live videos. No Neville, no Aries, no 205 Live. Enzo put a little spice in it. I enjoyed it just to listen to him. But since then, I guess they're having some really good matches down there. And I see our friend Meltzer putting a lot of those matches over. But because it's after SmackDown, the live crowd does not care. Right. So I just want to propose this. What do you guys think? Should they repackage 205 Live and maybe do it live on the network before an NXT taping in front of the Full Sail crowd in a different environment? Jeff, I'll start with you. What can they do to make it? If the matches are as good as our buddy Dave is saying,
and they
shouldn't WWE package this better?
I think it has gotten leaps and bounds better since Triple H got the book and is actually booking that show from scratch. But, what have you done for me lately, booking? And the thing is, to quote me, people crap on 205 Live so much. It's like it's also become the hip thing to do. Like, well, I already gave that show a chance or whatever. I don't care. I was at 205 Live at SmackDown the end of June.
Is Cedric Alexander the champ?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. That 205 Live show was okay live, but a lot, and I mean a lot of the people in the Ontario Arena after SmackDown. So they moved a lot of people down into the seating area to make sure it looked like it wasn't being crapped on and evacuated like a bomb scare. The storylines on that show are okay it's just for me personally. I like the wrestling part of that show. And I can see why Meltzer likes that show because the wrestling on that show is extraordinary. But the character development leaves a lot to be desired. And I think that's where the WWE audience is like, no characters. I'm good. What do you think, Greg? Am I wrong there?
I've been saying it for a few months now. I think that the cruiserweights would be better suited in front of the NXT crowd because the NXT crowd appreciates what it gets. And that was the same site for the Cruiserweight Classic, which was a big deal, which got a huge reaction. I think if you showcase the cruiserweights in a space where, even if, I don't want to say extend NXT to 2 hours just so you can fit the cruiserweights in because I don't want NXT to be overkilled. I just think that if you showcase the cruiserweights in NXT, maybe like a match or two every week or every other week, then I think you'd be okay. You would have that support. I mean, I feel like Pete Dunne as the UK champion is more over because he's had the exposure in NXT as opposed to the main roster.
Right.
So I think that 205 Live would be better suited. I really don't think the cruiserweights should have their own show, not because they're not talented, not because they don't deserve the spot, but because the cruiserweight action is such a niche part of the entire wrestling core that if you give them their own show, you only have a certain amount of people watching that because a certain amount of people like that. Like, don't get me wrong, they have some great psychology and whatnot, but it's such a niche part of it, and you don't have the big mainstream stars that you do with a Raw, a SmackDown, or an NXT.
Well, what I would do, Greg, and this is just me I'm literally thinking about this right now as you said that about the NXT Live crowd. I would have 205 Live be Wednesdays at 8 Eastern. Have them take NXT slot and then move NXT forward an hour to 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. That way they get the live slot and it's in Florida, so it's 8 o'clock bell time. Boom.
And I like that idea, Jeff, because that makes it 2 hours, and it might actually get people a little bit more invested in watching on Wednesday nights because there's more to watch. When it's just 1 hour, people are like, well, it's just 1 hour of television. Man. And if you have an extra hour, I think 2 hours is a good amount of time for a show. And if you do like a back-to-back with 205 Live and NXT, that might be a really good idea, actually.
And Greg mentioned it's a niche market. Yeah, the niche market for 205 Live crowd is independent fans because every independent wrestler is that big. Exactly. There's the market right there. The independent fans will subscribe to the network and buy, and it'll happen.
And that crowd would eat that style of wrestling
that crap up. Oh my God!
Now, Aaron, they used to record Sunday Night Heat. Was that before Raw?
Yeah.
When did they do that? And so the crowd in attendance is hot for Raw that they're about to watch. So I always thought, the Heat served its purpose back in the day. Why not, if they're not going to go to Full Sail, why not have 205 live before SmackDown comes on the air? Do you know what I mean? Like, while the crowd's still kind of excited for a SmackDown show at least.
Well, yeah, I understand that because if you do that, the crowd is thirsty for action when they first come into the arena. They want to see some great wrestling right off the bat. So that's a hot way to start off the show. But at the same time, like Greg said, there's really only a limited appeal to it, and I don't know how effective that would be. I think it would help because I think the fans would cheer for just about anybody if they came out. They just want to see some live wrestling.
It's a cheap way.
And not only that, but when they do shows on the West Coast, that means it's a 4 o'clock bell time in rush hour traffic in California. That would be a bitch crowd-wise. Terrible crowd.
Yeah, see, I'm not used to your time out there, Jeff.
No, it sucks.
Neither was Greg.
I was going to say East Coast time, you'd be cutting into people's Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy time. So, you might not want to do that for the older and
for the
me.
Older bunch, that's right. And you. Yeah, that's right.
I still watch them.
Or bump SmackDown from 9 to 11. But there's different possibilities. Hopefully we answered your question. But is everybody ready for the main event?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's time. Like, we've talked about AJ quite a bit, but I don't think we've really just talked about him. It's usually the feud he's in or whatever, but he's the WWE champion, and he's held it for quite some time. He is going to be on the cover, or he will be on the cover for sure for 2K19, which Aaron will not be on the Switch. Probably a good thing.
It's not.
So my question is, has AJ's WWE title run, is that a yes or no? Has his title run been underwhelming? And I'm interested to hear what everybody has to say. Greg, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, sadly, I think Money in the Bank aside, his feud with Shinsuke did bring it down. I enjoyed AJ Styles versus Rusev in their first WWE title match together. I thought it was great. I thought the near falls were good. Probably arguably the match of the night. His matches with Owens and Zayn and the six-pack challenge I thought were good. His match with Lesnar was probably Lesnar's best match in years, honestly. But as far as booking goes, it goes back to the whole CM Punk thing with his long title reign that he was rarely, if ever, in the main event. And that does hurt the WWE Championship. And we're all old school people where the WWE Championship was more often than not in the main event spot every single pay-per-view. There were a few exceptions, WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 11, where the WWE Championship was not the main event. But more often than not, the champion faced the challenger in the main event of a pay-per-view, and we all got used to that, and we were all fine with that because that's the way it should be. But if AJ got his spots in the main event, if AJ would have main event, I would have owed somebody a shirt. So I was kind of happy he did main event at Extreme Rules. But if he would have main evented at Extreme Rules, I think everybody would have been okay with that main event because it was a great match.
Yeah.
Both AJ and Rusev did well. And AJ can put on a good match with most anybody. I say most anybody because his singles matches against Kevin Owens, surprisingly a little underwhelming. Just my opinion.
The bar is set so high with AJ, though. You know what I mean? It is. Yeah.
And, AJ's been doing this for, 20 years, if not more? Pretty close.
Yep.
So to see AJ Styles this day and age as the WWE champion, 40, 41 years old, whatever he is, he's still putting on fantastic matches. I mean, we're all used to that with his run in TNA, with his run in New Japan. So we are used to AJ Styles putting on the high-quality matches. I mean, we respect those workhorses, like a Shawn Michaels, like a Bret Hart. And I think that's another thing that drives WWE fans nuts. It's like Vince's focus is always the big guys or the big dog or, the big this or that and the other thing. When we, as wrestling fans, respect the smaller guys that are the workhorses that put on the great matches with great psychology. Not saying the big guys can't do that. I mean, Undertaker's a prime example. I mean, one of the greatest psychologists in wrestling history. But it's one of those things where the little guys don't get the respect now necessarily that they'll get later. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Did anybody expect 5 years ago AJ would be in WWE in this spot?
You just took the words right out of my mouth, Virtue. I was just about to say 5 years ago, I could not have imagined AJ Styles even being in WWE, let alone being the champion for almost a year. So that's a pretty cool thing. The fact that he is a champion and he is the WWE champion, the title that goes back to 1963. Now, with that being said, I feel like it hasn't been great. It's been good, but I think we've all been waiting for like that one really awesome match that is a match of the year contender for the WWE title that closes the pay-per-view. Some sort of big epic match for the title, which we really haven't gotten yet. He more or less has been very similar to CM Punk in terms of having that kind of run where he's basically in the mid-card with the WWE title. He just happens to be the champion. So I would like to see him main event a pay-per-view as champion and be able to have a match of the year contender as champion as well. And I think there's still time for that. Who knows? He might surpass CM Punk's record. He's getting pretty close now. If he makes it to the Rumble, he'll pass Punk's record. He could feud with Joe for a while and maybe even be champion until next year's WrestleMania. What do you think, Jeff?
I think AJ's booking as WWE champion has been underwhelming. I think the fact that he's literally, more often than not, turned chicken shit into chicken salad has been very indicative of how great, how phenomenal he really is. AJ is, if you move yourself away from the Meltzer meter for just a minute, I say AJ Styles is the best in-ring worker in the world right now. I believe that. I stand by that. I like Kenny Omega. I like the Bucks. I like the guys in Japan. But AJ, through and through, has been turning chicken shit into chicken salad, booking-wise. The match qualities have been really, really good across the board with everybody. Even Owens, it wasn't as good as it could have been, but it's not either one of their fault. It's just the booking's underwhelming, so they're like, whatever.
Cammy.
I think... Oh, God. Ugh. Yes. Jesus. I honestly think that we are that match away from the Reign going... And I think it could have been the Nakamura series, or at least the one at WrestleMania, and that kind of fell flat. It should have been really good. I think when we get AJ versus Samoa Joe, they're going to make everybody remember why they were the TNA match of the year with Daniels.
Remember, Unbreakable.
That is still, to this day, the only triple threat match besides the WrestleMania 20 main event that I can put on a DVD and go, I will sit here and watch this all day and find new ways to love it every time.
Right.
Great match, and two of those guys are in the WWE right now, and they should be in the main event together for the WWE Championship. And what a series it could be. It could rival Joe versus Punk from Ring of Honor. That's how good it could be.
Give them 30 minutes on pay-per-view.
Give them 30 on a pay-per-view. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I don't think his title reign's been underwhelming whatsoever. The booking, suspect for sure. Or, the creative. I think that we are going to be treated. I think the culmination of this title reign, when he drops it, and again, who is it going to be to Joe? Could somehow they finagle it and it's against Rollins? That would be a hot match, right?
Daniel Bryan.
That's what I think.
Of course, that's where I was going. Yeah, and Daniel Bryan. I think whenever AJ drops it, I'm putting all the eggs in one basket for AJ. That's going to make his title reign because AJ, like any professional, all the work that he's done, he puts that next guy over and gives them that title when they deserve it finally. I think I'll be like, wow, that was a hell of a title run.
Yeah,
so it's forecasting,
I'm feeling it's going to be Bryan and AJ for the title at WrestleMania. Bryan's going to win the Royal Rumble. AJ's going to stay champion all the way through WrestleMania. So then, not only do you have Bryan winning the Rumble, and by the way, that could be an incentive for him signing a new contract. They promise him a WrestleMania main event with AJ. Bryan wins the Rumble, and then AJ surpasses Punk's record as the longest reigning WWE champion, so it's even more of a big deal.
Of the modern era.
The modern era, of course, yes. I got to be careful of that because people will get on my case. But yeah, I think that is a very realistic possibility for the WrestleMania main event, especially since it's clear now they're going with Bryan versus The Miz, and it looks like it's going to be Joe versus AJ at SummerSlam and beyond.
Yep.
All right, good points by everybody. And we'll see. Will we get AJ versus Rollins? AJ versus Joe? Who's he going to drop it to? Or AJ versus Daniel Bryan? So let's do plugs. I think that's enough for this week. I got my fix in after being off last week. Greg, tell the world everything you want to.
Wrestling Trivia Challenge comes back this week for Season 5. And as your longest reigning Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion, I look forward to defending the title even more this season. NoDQ.com/shirts. Buy a shirt. NoDQ.com/Greg. ProWrestlingTees.com/PA Sensation for my custom shirts. That's it for me.
Mr. Meacham.
NoDQ.com/Jeff for everything Jeff Meacham Twitter related. Instagram.com/_Jeff Meacham for me. For the picture stuff, I'm doing a 30-day wrestling challenge right now. I think I'm on day 17, 16, something like that. Anyway, don't know where I'm at. I got to look. And, of course, Pro Wrestling Tees, you can find the Jeff Meacham Talk Wrestling shirt. You can find the Meacham Mayhem shirt. You can find the Now See Here's the Thing shirt, which I still need to get for myself. And, of course, Wrestling Trivia Challenge. Watch the successor to the throne because he is the greatest wrestling trivia champion of all time. There you go.
Very, very humble of you, Jeff. That was very nice. But, of course...
Call a spade, brother. It is what it is. I know when I was bested, and I was bested, man.
Yeah, of course, everybody knows where to follow me and tune into Wrestling Trivia Challenge. I'm excited, I should say, to see how it's going.
He's exciting. He's exciting. He's so excited.
I'm excited to be exciting.
He's excited to be excited. That's right.
Yeah, I also wanted to plug NoDQ.com's 20-year anniversary meetup, our second one of the year in Los Angeles. Jeff will be there. Hopefully a few others from the NoDQ Galaxy will be there. Cindy is expected to be there. Maybe TJS, maybe Interstate Kyle, maybe Grandpa, maybe Gilberto, everyone's favorite troll. Actually, Brett Buchanan is coming to Survivor Series with us.
All right, I'll get to see Brett.
For
like
those
Brett.
of you
That's
out
cool.
there that remember him, probably not, since he was way back and he mostly just did his own audio.
He was back in the day with us, man, way back.
I'm trying to think if he ever appeared on XMV. I don't think so.
I don't think he ever did. I think he was strictly audio. We saw him at shows, but I don't think he ever appeared on XMV like everybody else did.
Yeah, but he will be there. It's going to be a big deal, so head over to nodq.com/LA. Too bad Virtue spent all of his money in Florida, so he's not going to be able to join us.
That's not a bad
It's
plan
not
B,
about
though,
money.
brother. Disney
I
World's
know.
the business, man.
It's about getting time off work. I only get so many days.
Yeah, only so many days. But yeah, we did get Virtue for the Chicago one, so that's good enough.
And the Roman Reigns chanting that will live in infamy now.
Infamy.
We
Yes.
went viral for that. That was cool.
That was cool.
Hey, the No DQ review shirt, Aaron?
Yes,
You
buy a
you
shirt.
that?
Buy a shirt.
All right, well, I'm Virtue. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. I think Aaron set up my Facebook page, right? NoDQ.com/Virtue with a small V, because I tried a capital V and it doesn't take me there. So it's got to be the small V. Yeah, okay. But for the whole panel,
Size
the
matters.
team, the review panel, Aaron Rift, Jeff Meacham, Greg Cherry, I'm Virtue, and we will see you next week.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Ben 10 and Danny Phantom series premiere reviews, plus Avatar The Last Airbender episode 1 and 2 reviews. Jay Hebert's Side of Things episode 5, James Hebert's Hodgepodge of Nonsense. Shared experiences re-airing on the new FTW main hub. Retro Wrestling Review Series summer shows, All In Hype and All Out Hype. The Wrestling Rundown and ATW View crossover, available now on demand. Fantasy Booking Series video. If Goldberg stayed in WWE in 2004, Zero Entertainment presents the CAW Grizzly Tournament. All of a Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Simple Bracketology season premiere covering the G1 Climax 33. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force episode 27, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. FTW watch parties for the go-home weeks of All In and All Out, plus pay-per-view coverage. A Simple Take. WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting. Episode 3 coming soon. La Strada 1954 watch-along, available on demand. WYW Intro and Immortal stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from Jay Hebert Studios.
The following program contains strong language that is not suitable for young children. Viewer discretion is advised. In 2019, Michael X won the Wrestling Rundown Championship, taking the world by storm. But then, the virus attacked. These men promptly escaped from mental insanity by talking about the nerdiest shit on the internet, filmed in the Massachusetts Underground. Today, still wanted by the people of YouTube, they survive as nerds, weebs, and dorks of fortune. If you have an obsession, if no one else can, and if you can subscribe to them, maybe you can hire Indy Force.
What happens when a man with ADHD
and a man with full-blown autism start a wrestling podcast?
Insanity Works Studios
and Jay Hebert Studios
proudly presents
Wake the fuck up, you idiot! It's time to predict.
What time is it?
7:07.
Oh shit. Oh, hi guys. Okay. Sorry, long day. Fuck. Okay.
You had a long day. I walked 13 miles in 6 hours, you idiot.
I don't know. Sorry. Where are we? Okay. Shit. Oh, wait. We have a. Wait. Why isn't in the? Why are we not on camera? Where's the rest of the guys?
'Cause I couldn't get a hold of them, and they, I guess, said they had something else planned. I'm not sure what, but I guess we'll find out.
Oh, okay.
I just hope they have. I just hope they have their predictions in time for All Out.
Yeah, same here. Wait, why is the extra footage in the why is it in the Wrestling with Idiocy thing? What the hell's going on? The fuck?
I'm very confused. I'm very confused. But you know what?
Okay, fuck it. Predictions. Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares? We're
let's
here.
say for right now. Let's just say fuck right now and just get this done.
Okay. All right. So,
well, for those who don't know,
I believe
AEW's. For those who don't know, AEW's second All Out event is this Saturday, September 5th of 2020.
Yep, September 5th of 2020. This will pretty much be, this will be a month before the 1 year anniversary of getting on TNT. So I'm expecting this to be a very big show.
I agree.
Should we get a criticism? Should we get a criticism out of the way before we actually get to the actual predicting? Because
I know
there's a lot of gimmick matches. Is that just me, or am I noticing? Am I the only one noticing that shit? Or because, like, why? Why is there a tooth and nail match? I understand the Mimosa Mayhem match because it's Jericho and Cassidy. But like, what's with the tooth and nail match? What's with the Broken Rules match? I'm fine with the 21-man Casino Battle Royal. But yeah, like, why is it very gimmick match heavy? You know what I mean? Like, it should have just been Mimosa Mayhem and Casino Battle Royal, and that's it. And the weird thing is, I guess Broken Rules, by the way. So I finally figured out what those rules are. We'll get to that match, obviously, when we get to it. But apparently, it's Last Man Standing.
Oh.
Last Man Standing, but it's also False Count Anywhere. So basically, it's a Mexican death match. That's what a Broken Rules match is, where you can either beat your opponent by pinfall, submission, or knocking them out to the point where they cannot answer the count of 10. That's what a Mexican death match is.
Should be interesting.
So that's what it is. I don't know why they're calling it Broken Rules. I assume that's just what they decided to go with.
Yeah, probably.
I ain't necessarily like against it, but still, we move. So buy-in match, tooth and nail match. What the fuck is this match? Still can't find the rules for this. I don't even know why they're calling it this.
We'll probably find out when we watch the event. Although, just as a heads up regarding that, I'm probably working very early Sunday morning, so I'll watch the event more likely than not Sunday afternoon. Remind me to download the BR Live app on my new Amazon TV, and I'll get that going.
Yes, that'd be great. That'd be great. And then, so who do we got? Big Swole or Britt Baker? I'm thinking Britt Baker because she's just coming off an injury. That's just me.
I can absolutely see that. I'm gonna say Big Swole because she hasn't really had much done with her outside of this, at least as far as I know. And her really most impactful thing this year has been almost taking a swing at somebody during Double or Nothing.
That was fucking hilarious. Who was that again? I don't even remember now. Was it Archer? Archer?
It might have been Lance Archer. I'm not 100%. I'd have to go back and watch Double or Nothing again.
Dude, if you are ever in a situation where you may get your ass kicked. The person you want by your side, I don't care if it's male or female, is Big Swole. It's Big Swole 100%. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay.
Swole don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, Swole clearly don't give a fuck. She made that very clear. Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks. I assume at this point, whoever wins this match is going to be the number 1 ranked tag team after the FTR Omega and Page match. To me, just because of who I think is going to win the ladder match that I just mentioned, I got to go with the Young Bucks here. I got to, because you know they're going to build up Young Bucks FTR, and that's coming, and we might as well just get that prediction out of the way and skip ahead. I think it's safe to say Omega and Hangman lose the tag team titles to FTR.
I can actually agree with both picks. Jurassic Express will probably be used for the 6-man tag later on down the line, and they'd probably be more effective in that scene anyway.
Personally, I think that Luchasaurus would be good, and this is just me, because personally I think these two could have fucking great big hoss fights together. Even though it's an unofficial championship, I could see him taking the FTW championship off of Brian Cage.
Maybe with the right build, but definitely not so soon.
No, I'm saying like later on. I'm not saying like right now, but like
put it
this way, if they wanted to do it for the next full gear coming up this year, I wouldn't complain. Like in the slightest, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah. Now
make that buy-in match, entice people to buy the pay-per-view, make it a false count anywhere match, make the fucking big guys brawl over the arena to really get the crowd going, really get the adrenaline pumped up at home.
You are right about one thing though. Regardless of when they do it, it's going to be a hell of a match if it happens.
I agree. But yeah, I'm going with Young Bucks. It's kind of a shame because you realize if you go back to the tag team title tournament from when was it? I don't even remember the week they started doing the tag team tournament for the tag titles. But you just knew because of the crowd reaction they were getting. You knew Jurassic Express was winning that whole thing, and then Luchasaurus got injured. That was fucking gut-wrenching, dude. That halted all their momentum that they fucking built up naturally, dude. It was... fucking... Curse the wrestling gods! How dare you fucking... You already got rid of all the rest of the fucking dinosaurs. What you got against Luchasaurus, huh? What you got against my boy?
The wrestling gods giveth, and the wrestling gods taketh away.
Wrestling gods sucketh. How about that? All right. Sorry. All right. So wait, say that again.
Looking at you, Bradshaw.
Oh Jesus! He's not a god. He's a fucking asshole.
That's a callback and a half, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I haven't heard that in a while. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara Broken Rules match. Apparently, if Hardy loses, he leaves AEW. I thought, shit, is Sammy gonna win? I thought about it realistically. Now Hardy's fucking winning this. There's no way he's fucking leaving this fucking soon. He literally just signed, and they're already talking about plans they have in the fucking future. There's no way he's leaving.
Yeah, no.
Matt Hardy's winning. I think that's a unanimous pick between you and I. Dark Order versus Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, Scorpio Sky, and the Natural Nightmares of QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. So this storyline...
Momentum.
Wait, say that again?
The Dark Order needs the momentum. They've been kind of languishing in terms of what's going on outside of...
Well, here's the thing. They were languishing until the fucking Cody beatdown. That fucking Dark Order beatdown where fucking... I don't know if you've seen Dynamite because I know you're working busy with work, but I'll spoil it for you anyway, and you still should watch the segment because it's fucking amazing.
It's probably on YouTube somewhere.
So Cody has been defending the TNT title in these grueling matches week after week after week after week, like he said he was going to do, and he the opponent he faces next happens to be the leader of the Dark Order, Brody Lee. Cody Rhodes gets a flurry of punches and then one big boot, and he's selling like he's damn near incapacitated. And then Brody Lee just obliterates him, Brock Lesnar style. Hits him with the discus lariat after series of fucking moves in the ring, outside of the ring, completely destroying him in pretty much a squash match. Won the TNT title. Then the Dark Order came to celebrate. Then the Nightmare Family came out to, the EMTs then put a face mask on, pretending like Cody Rhodes needs like oxygen and shit. Which, where does that sound familiar, Mr.
Rey Mysterio?
No, where does the freaking Sean and Azam.
Oh yeah.
Although they could actually do that scene because, no bullshit game limitations. Anyway, so then Cody, when he gives the thumbs up, Brody does not like that. So he tips the frickin' bed over. Meanwhile, Preston Vance and a couple other Dark Order members fucking brutalize QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. Then Brandy comes in to pretty much protect her husband from any further damage. And then Anna Jay, who's the newest member of the Dark Order, chokes out Brandy Rhodes with the Kirifuda clutch. And it stands with the entirety of the Dark Order standing tall. If you were to actually see this segment, this is exactly the fucking kick in the ass the Dark Order needed. And now, and if they were to have Dark Order lose to Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and the Natural Nightmares, that'd be the biggest fucking blunder other than Retribution this year.
Exactly.
They cannot do that.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying Dark Order needs their momentum.
Yeah, they need to keep the momentum. So they haven't even they don't even need to gain momentum because they already have that fucking momentum. They're a red hot act now. They need to keep that momentum going. Is basically the point I'm trying to make there. All right. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, Casino Battle Royal. We're just gonna read this as is because even though they may have announced all the participants by now, shouldn't spoil. I can't be asked, so whatever. I'm just gonna read it. Participants that could be in this or that have not been announced yet: Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, Marco Stunt, Brandon Cutler, Austin Gunn, Jack Evans, Kip Sabian, Angelico, Michael Nakazawa, Pac, and Jeff Cobb. Although he's more unlikely not to be in the Battle Royal. So there you go with that. The people that have been announced, and remember, it's a 21-man Casino Battle Royal. So it's like with 21 cards and shit, you draw a card, and that's you guys know the rules by now if you watch the AEW.
It's all about that reference.
Yeah. Participants announced are Billy Gunn, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, The Butcher, The Blade, Eddie Kingston, Jake Hager, Chuck Taylor, Trent Santana, Ortiz, Serpentico, Sean Spears, and Darby Allin. Again, I could be way off on that. That's just the people that I saw on that. What I will say was a dog shit of a segment. To hype up the Battle Royal. Because, okay, how many times have you and I seen, Royal Rumble's coming up, everyone must fight.
Yeah.
Oh, Survivor Series is coming up, everyone must fight. AEW's having a casino battle royal coming up for All Out. Everyone must fight. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Please don't do that again. Just do a traditional way. Do it like the old school way. Like why they're gonna win the battle royal. Do a pre-tape interview or something, please. Because like trying to keep track of who the fuck was in that ring and who actually could be in the battle royal was a pain in the ass. And I still could be way off, but I don't know. Now, I know that's, now, if you're counting at home, I know that's more than 21 people that I just listed off. But if you were to listen closer, I said participants that could be in the Royal Rumble that haven't been announced yet. That doesn't mean all the people that I said that haven't been announced yet are all automatically going to be in a 21-man battle royal, because if you count, that's like 27, 28, maybe 30, which, you know, it's way over the top. That being said, who do we got? I don't know. I genuinely don't know who could win this Royal Rumble. Or Royal Rumble. Battle Royal, let me call it by the proper name.
Nor do I. Although I am going to go out on a limb and say Pac is one of the people that's going to be announced.
Oh yeah. Maybe we probably should have done, we probably could have done the whole, you know, fucking who, you know, wild card pick. If you get this pick right and he shows up at a battle royal, you get 2 points. But yeah, fuck that nonsense. Don't have time for that shit. So we're just gonna pick on a winner. Personally, I'm gonna go with Sean Spears. I think this is the moment for him. Like, if you've been watching Dark, and I haven't been watching Dark, but I've been keeping up with it. You know that old school thing where they have like a weapon inside a black glove?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tully Blanchard handed that down to him, and yeah, I think that's how he's gonna win. And it's no DQ, so he could use the glove however the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna say Darby Allin's gonna win this.
That's fair. Those are the two people I see winning it the most, because Brian Cage you've already done.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other one I realistically could see is Eddie Kingston, and even then, So I'm just gonna stick with Sean Spears. So there you go. Okay, so that's done. Okay, AEW Women's Championship on the line. Hikaru Shida, the champion, versus NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa, which is, by the way, is a huge fucking pickup for them, because that means they just got back their working relationship with NWA, which could lead to future freaking partnerships down the line with them, like I predicted, by the way, like months ago. And now it's actually starting to come to fruition. I think the pandemic definitely sped things up a little bit, but nevertheless, here we are. I'm going to say Hikaru Shida retains. She just won the belt at Double or Nothing.
I'm going to agree, because Thunder Rosa is apparently still the NWA Women's World Champion. Working relationship or not, you don't want to have too many instances of one person holding the belt in two different promotions at the same time, because then it just gets watered and muddied down, and it gets hard to keep track of shit.
I would have said something different if they built this up as, like, you know, winner take all. Then I would say Thunder Rosa should fucking win this, because Thunder Rosa out of the two, I think this is going to be the fucking best AEW women's match they ever done, because Thunder Rosa is fucking amazing. We know how good Hikaru Shida is, and it's like, it's the Latina lucha libre mixed with MMA influence, added in with the Japanese strong style influence. We're going to get a fucking great match out of this. I'm telling you. Do not sleep on this match. This is going to be the sleeper of the fucking night, I'm telling you.
We're gonna get a fight, is what we're gonna get.
Yeah, this is gonna be the fucking sleeper. This is gonna be the sleeper of the whole picture.
We've got another out and out fight on the way that we'll get to later, but for right now, there might be infighting. Kenny Omega and Adam Page, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, versus
now known as Fear the Revelation, FTR with Tully Blanchard at ringside. So, obviously, FTR is winning. We already agreed with that. We already said that.
Yep.
Now, Kenny Omega and Adam Page, one of them is turning heel. Who do we think? This isn't going to count towards the predictions, but who do we think is going to turn heel here?
Either one would make a lot of sense. I feel like Page could probably pull it off better, but either one could work.
You know what? I was thinking that, and I've been saying like maybe he would be the best fit for FTR for a long time, but I don't know, man. You would have to watch Dynamite week to week. It's actually fucking amazing when you watch it week to week because it's such a great storytelling.
Well, here's the thing about that. Adam Page was kicked out of the Elite. Kenny Omega, not so much.
Well, here's the thing, though. I do see that point. However, Adam Page came out this week on Dynamite. There must have been a makeup lady or something where they made his eyes look so fucking red to the point where it looked like he was in absolute distraught and was crying all night about, being kicked out of the fucking Elite, which is like, that's a fucking brilliant... WWE would never think about doing shit like that.
No.
They're a multi-million-dollar fucking company. Here's a fucking, fledgling AEW putting makeup around Adam Page's eyes to make it look like he's so fucking distraught over being kicked out of the Elite. Brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. I love how they're making this so unpredictable where you can honestly see either Kenny Omega or Adam Page turning heel and going their own way. Because, like, Kenny, I've been seeing a lot more heel tendencies in Kenny than I have with Adam Page. Adam Page has been so fucking over since he's added the edge of being the fucking drunk cowboy alcoholic. That thing has been a license to print money. He is the perfect sympathetic babyface now. I don't think you can turn that heel.
Honestly, James, I feel like that's why he should turn heel.
I don't know. I see. Here's the thing. I think you would do, and it took me a minute to realize this, but Adam Page has had fucking bangers as baby faces. I feel like if you turn him into a heel, it wouldn't have that same luster because, one, people really wanted to cheer him, and two, people actually more than likely are going to side with him in this instance anyway. And you look at Kenny Omega when he was in New Japan as the cleaner.
Oh, you think he might be bringing that back?
That's what I'm thinking. Dude, if Kenny Omega fucking brought back the cleaner, he'd be the top heel in AEW in a fucking instant. Guaranteed.
No question.
Fucking question. And we know, and here's the thing, we know Kenny Omega could do it because the reason he's had those matches with Okada was because he works best as a fucking heel. Doesn't mean he can't do a babyface fucking run. We've seen his last match with Okada. He proved that. But he's so much better as a fucking heel. There was a reason why after AJ Styles left, he took over the fucking Bullet Club. You know what I mean? Because he was believable. He was pompous. He was arrogant. He knew he was that damn good. And he knew he could fucking bring the best out of anybody. And he knew no matter how much they fucking threw at him, in kayfabe, he was going to come out and stand tall in the end. He's becoming more and more unlikable by design, while Adam Page is becoming more sympathetic. And while he does have heelish tendencies, like costing his best friends, the Young Bucks, you know, who knows? And you know what? Here's another fucking thing. I think the Young Bucks are better as fucking heels. They've started showing heel tendencies this week on Dynamite when they just pretty much blew off a victory, hand raise with, Jurassic Express, which has been very uncharacteristic of the Young Bucks as of late because they've been, all about respect and being, la-di-da number one. I see all of them dumping Adam Hangman Page. And then in a fucking shocking ass twist, FTR are the fucking baby faces. Adam Page is the fucking baby faces. And when he comes back and fucking beats down Brody Lee and gets the fucking championship that he fucking took from him, or at least attempt to, then you bring Cody into the fucking mix. That completely fucking flips the shit on its head.
Well, honestly, regardless of who tunes heel, I won't be mad because it means we're going to get a hell of a program out of it.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I think you would get an even better program if it's the cleaner Kenny Omega versus the Hangman Adam Page, the babyface Hangman Adam Page. I think that has a license to fucking print money just thinking about that. Honest to God. All right. We talked enough about that. Okay, so Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, the Mimosa Mayhem. Oh boy. So basically the way you win this match is pinfall, submission, or dumping your opponent into however many tons of fucking mimosa, which is just orange juice and a little bit of the bubbly mixed together. So I can't even believe I'm saying it, but I got to give the win to Cassidy here. This is the rubber win for him. There's no way they're not going to do this. The only problem is, if you do that, where the hell did the Inner Circle go? Because if you have... That's the problem we run into. Because if you are trying to build Orange Cassidy as the top star, because right now he's selling the best... He is the best-selling T-shirt in AEW right now. Like, he's the top fucking merchandise seller. So you got to give him this win. Just off that alone, because the fans are fucking loving this guy, and you built up all this momentum. But then where do you go with the Inner Circle? At this point, I think the Inner Circle pretty much ran its course, which sucks, because that means we ain't getting blood and guts with Inner Circle involved. Fuck, I was really looking fucking forward to that. I'm so mad we didn't get it.
You can still do the Dark Order.
You could do the Dark Order, yeah. I feel like with the star power that you were gonna get in that, that would have been the perfect first one. So I'm not entirely sure. And who knows? Maybe what I say comes true, and they don't even do the Dark Order, because the Dark Order pretty much turned everybody against each other anyway and ran roughshod. It might be FTR and Cody and Page versus Kenny Omega. The Young Bucks, and maybe they fucking bring in Kota Ibushi, and they fucking do that fucking as blood and guts. Who the fuck knows what they're gonna do at this point? Because you can't put in you literally milked all you could out of the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Jericho's got to lose. But if he wins, then you can keep Inner Circle around. That's kind of the dilemma you're in right now. This is the one time where AEW kind of booked themselves into a corner, and I don't think it was, by accident. This is one of those things where the pandemic just fucked up everything, and there's not much you could do about it. But Cassidy's got to win this. It's just a matter of Orange Cassidy sells more business. Which is nuts. I never thought I'd say that about Cassidy. Not to say that Jericho isn't the bigger fucking star, because he is, but who's selling more T-shirts right now? Who's bringing in the fucking ratings right now? It's Orange Cassidy. Anytime he's fucking on there, he's one of the highest rated fucking segments on AEW. So to me, that screams a win for Cassidy. There's no way you can build him up as well as you have built him up, especially with that fucking, the debate, quote unquote, and not have him win. He's got to win this rubber match. Because again, what else can you really do with the Inner Circle? Because it lasted, it went for a good while, it worked for a while, but Santana and Ortiz would be best fitted with fucking Eddie Kingston. And you could do a trio deal out of that fucking thing with Proud and Powerful. Sammy Guevara is a fucking star in the...
Maybe that's how you bring in the 6-man tag belts? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, Sammy Guevara, in his own right, is a fucking star in the making as a fucking heel. Fucking JR legitimately said this. He was not bullshitting. Reminded him of a young Eddie Guerrero, which I absolutely could see the fucking comparisons. Because holy shit, is he phenomenal on the mic. He's got one of the best characters in AEW right now. And it really does remind me of, watching a young Eddie Guerrero, really morph into this fucking charisma machine. Because, Guevara was good on the mic, but ever since he's been with Jericho, holy shit, has he fucking turned it up a notch. Holy shit. Dude, it's eerily, if you actually compare Eddie Guerrero's Nitro run when he turned heel to Sammy Guevara's run in the Inner Circle, it's fucking eerily similar. It's scary how similar it is. I've been watching,
And this is without mentioning Sammy's little acting moment with Matt Hardy back at Double or Nothing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, absolutely. Dude, well, that's the thing, is, even that, it's he still came off looking fucking strong. And, they turned that into a fucking program. They got some great heat going into this fucking match. I mean, this feud really stretches back all the way to when, Sammy Guevara got hit by the fucking golf cart by Matt Hardy and Omega. So, this is how far that goes back to. But yeah, it's and then you got Jake Hagar. Jake Hagar does Jake Hagar things. So I don't know what you do with him, but I'm sure he'll, I don't know, maybe he turns on the Inner Circle, and that's what disillusions the group to join his older brother, Orange Cassidy, because they fucking look alike. Which, by the way, if you guys didn't realize, that's why Jake Hagar and Orange Cassidy were in a segment together on Dynamite. Now you know, because it was a meme. It's been a meme for a while that Orange Cassidy just looks like a smaller version of Jake Hagar. So there you go. Now you know the meme. All right, AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley, MJF. I mean, this is unanimous at this fucking point. It's got to be MJF, isn't it?
Has to be MJF.
It's MJF, 100%.
Because heel bullshit for weeks, my dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, considering the fact that he pretty much just took the approach of a scumbag politician and has an entire cabinet by his side now. I guarantee you a bunch of those fucking people are going to get involved and try to cost Jon Moxley somehow.
And by the way, scumbag politician with a cabinet? Where have we heard that before, John?
No, it's not the same. I'll tell you why it's not the same. Because your group is full of killers. Your group's full of killers. I don't know what the fuck that cabinet was, but the only scary person in that was Wardlow, other than MJF when he's mad, which he proved this week on TV. So yeah, that was pretty much unanimous. We don't need to keep going on there. Now, you all are probably wondering what this is, and I'm still wondering why this is even the setup of Wrestling with Idiocy, but in case you don't know what Wrestling with Idiocy is, Casey, you want to tell them what Wrestling with Idiocy is? Since it's pretty
format? It's pretty self-explanatory. We we're a couple of idiots who sit down and shoot the shit about wrestling.
Yeah. Whatever topic comes to mind, too.
Should we give them a little preview? Should we give them a little preview of our next one before we head off?
Yeah. Obviously, I'll make this quick. So next ones that are coming up in recent time are going to be what's the best way to explain this? We're gonna do a tier list. We're gonna do a tier list for the best championship belts in the history of professional wrestling, mainly looking at basically all the companies that were important. So WWE, WCW, ECW, NWA, Impact Wrestling. I think we're just gonna include all of them, honestly. I think we're just gonna include all of them. So basically, the big companies that everybody knows of that has like a world or at least a national name value is going to be in the tier list. So New Japan is going to be in it. AEW obviously is going to be in it. WCW, ECW, WWF, WWE. Freaking, and it's going to be from like all different generations.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a cutoff point. Obviously, I think obviously the cutoff point is Winged Eagle because it's the fucking Winged Eagle, you know. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, you should break that number one." You just have to tune in and see. You'll just have to tune in and see. Next one after that will be pay-per-view stage setups. That will also be a tier list ranking. So be on the lookout for that as well. That is still work in progress because I'm not even sure what we're going to do for arenas. I think we're just going to pick out a bunch at random that we really like and see where we'd rank them. See where it goes. Maybe we'll even pick some shitty ones. Maybe we'll pick in some ones that are cult favorites. Maybe we'll pick ones that
are best left forgotten.
Yeah. Maybe we'll pick ones that were from an absolutely dog shit pay-per-view but had an amazing set. For example, Capital Punishment actually had a really good fucking set and the pay-per-view was just trash. It was the sad thing. You never know. It's going to be a random tier list, so stay tuned for that. And then what was the next thing, Case? Because that was your idea, right?
It was. Well, for those of you who don't already know, James has been a wrestling fan for, 22 years?
Yeah, 22, probably going on that. Probably longer than that at this point now.
And I've been a wrestling fan for about 25 years. So with almost 50 years of combined wrestling fandom between us, some people are probably sitting out there wondering, how the fuck did that get started? Well, that's what we're going to be covering on episode 4.
They are? You sure? People give a shit about us? What?
That's a big if. That's a big assumption, I know. But let's just go with it, because I'd rather pretend that people do care about us than not.
Okay.
So. But yes, that's what we're going to be covering on episode 4 of Wrestling with ADC, is how we got started in our wrestling fandom. We'll cover
going over every company, obviously, that we started watching.
Specifically, we'll be covering the sensational 7 of wrestling promotions: WWE, WCW, ECW, Ring of Honor, TNA/Impact, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I swear we're missing one, aren't we? Are we not missing? Are we? I guess we didn't really get into Lucha Libre, huh?
Not really, no.
Yeah, no, we tried.
We didn't
what I realized? How bad is it that in WCW did Lucha Libre better than fucking AAA did? Because holy shit, is it a botch fest over there?
Yeah.
Holy shit, AAA needs to get their fucking shit together. But yeah, that's it for this impromptu edition of Wrestling with Idiocy. I don't know why we're doing it this way, but fuck it. Casey, Where can they find you at right now?
Besides in my car hanging myself.
Well, I mean, yes, besides that, because that wouldn't be good.
That would not be very good. Aside from that, you can find me on Twitter at SeaTroop19. I'm also Luke Lynch on YouTube, so subscribe to me there. You can also follow me on Twitch.
Wait, yo, what the fuck is going on? No, what is going on?
Seriously,
what the
as
fuck?
I'm with
Hello?
can you not do the...
What the hell is going on with my computer?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a very special occasion, purely for your entertainment tonight. We are your hosts, Lionheart, Mike Nikos, and I'm here with
the Executioner, Michael X.
And welcome to
Open Mic Night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of Open Mic Night. We are your hosts, Lionheart, Mike Nikos, with...
And I'm the Executioner, Michael X. So this is a little impromptu, I guess you could say. What do we have? Let's see, what's our topic this week? Usually I have that shit ready to go prior to getting all set up and ready. So give me just a few moments to pull it up. Oh, cool. So we're talking about the next pay-per-view for AEW.
Excellent. So, the buy-in. It's actually rare. Do they usually post buy-ins like twice every pay-per-view, or like every pay-per-view is a buy-in?
I think they do it every pay-per-view from what I remember.
I see. It's good. Because usually I always get that mixed up with our show, because we always do like buy-ins for like every twice
Every house show. Every house show we do. Well, the house show really is kind of like the buy-in, I guess you'd call it. But we don't usually do the buy-in thing all the time. We usually like to save it for like what makes the most sense for it to appear. But hey, AEW can do whatever the hell they want at this point, so who cares?
Sure. And before anyone asks, yes, I will be defending the Indy Force Championship for this. And, win or lose, winner take all. So let's start with the buy-in match.
Does that mean somebody gets the goofy-ass crown as well?
Hell no.
Ah! You want to keep that one?
Mine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you want, I can also bid up... All right, you know what? Let's make it interesting. Not only will I bet the championship belt, I'll also bet the crown. Anyone else can be Indy Force King.
You're going to put up both of them at the same time?
Yeah, why not? Let's make this interesting.
Okay, so do I put up my mask then? Do we make it like an even trade? Even though, let's be honest, nobody else has the right to wear that except for this one right here.
You know what? That's too important for you to lose. I suggest you...
That really is. If I lose that, it's game the fuck over. You know how hard that thing was to get at the first place? I had to go through like at least 6 different channels to get the thing made at the first, because I had to go through like several websites to just get the thing fucking made.
Yeah, true. So I think it's a good idea for you to hold on to that mask, for yourself only.
By the way, you know how many people have asked? It's like, is that real? Do you really have a Michael X mask? It's like, of course I do. Why the fuck wouldn't I? That's my character. I love that character. He's the first one I ever made for as a CAW.
And that's good. That's good to have something to treasure for.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's a really good memento for you to keep.
Oh yeah, I'm going to try to get a mannequin head so I can place it on there instead of doing what I usually do, which is place it in my closet and try to find a spot for it so it doesn't get all messed up. But shit happens. I mean, the stitching on that, it's almost like 4 years old now.
Oh, true.
So it's old.
Or if you want, you could do something crazy and create like a time capsule and just throw that shit in there, and someone from like the year 3020 will look into it and say, what the fuck is this shit?
The fuck is a Michael X, and how come the mask is dope?
I don't know, but but I want to wear it. But if I do, I'll imagine that I'm going to turn into some ungodly, horrific beast.
No, I have a plan with that, actually. It's a little goofy. I know that we're supposed to be talking about the pay-per-view, but fuck it. I'm going to pass that down the line,
Oh, that's good.
the whole idea of it. My personal trinket to pass down.
Something for the future generation. That's a good idea.
Just so that way, like, if I have, like, a kid, they go, what the fuck is this? And please explain it without being a dork. So you know about the alter ego now. Sorry, what? Yes, the alter ego.
He'll look at you and you're like, "You're Batman?" No. but
Yes. How did you know? How did you know that I was a fictional character? Anyway, so why don't we start with the buy-in here?
Sure.
Get into this shit.
The buy-in is a tooth and nail match. The competitors are Big Swole versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
I'm going to give it to the heel. I think it makes the most sense to give it to the heel, especially if it's a tooth versus nail match type, which I'm not sure what that entails specifically, but it makes the most sense to have Britt Baker win it because it has literally the word tooth in the fucking title. Having her lose, that kind of makes it not as important as it should, if you know where I'm coming from.
True. Yeah, I'm also gonna have to agree with your pick, which is Dr. Britt Baker, because honestly, Big Swole, yes, she's been on like a roll lately, but it's been a while since we've seen Britt Baker in action. So, having her get a one-up on Big Swole would actually help boost her, I want to say, arc as a heel, which at this point, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but for having done nothing much for this company, yeah, I think it would seem to be appropriate.
Yeah, so far is the important bit there, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
So
not everybody is going to be, clamored for as soon as they appear. So you just sometimes you need the undercard talent, no matter what.
Oh, true.
I know somebody's going to sit there and say, "Did you just call her the undercard?" It's like, hear me out. I'm not saying that she's a bad athlete. Let's let that be known. I'm saying specifically that you need people to fill the roles of being the undercard talent sometimes. Even if, let's be honest, everybody goes, "Oh, I'm the greatest wrestler of all time." It's like, shut the fuck up. No, you're not.
Yeah.
The greatest wrestler of all time came. Dude, the greatest wrestler of all time, which I know somebody's going to sit there and fight me on that, is Jerry the King Lawler. He's the greatest wrestler of all time. He has the most title wins in history. He's the longest reigning heel ever. And he's the only wrestler ever to go, yeah, I called some of the greatest matches of all time as well.
I mean,
but
he isn't called the king for nothing,
Exactly. So let's get into the next bit here. So you have Britt Baker, and so do I.
Yep.
Next we have Jurassic Express versus the Bucks. I'm gonna probably give it to the Bucks. They're on a roll recently, from what I remember.
You know me. I would never break my oath.
I know.
I mean,
but I'm just putting it in perspective of if I have to choose a team to go against the Bucks, I wouldn't. The only way you could make it better is if it was fucking Lucha, the Lucha Brothers as well, a part of that.
Oh yeah, true. Lucha Bros and the Butcher and the Blade would have been a good feud, but having Eddie Kingston bring them together, being as their hype man, is actually ingenious. I never thought of it that way. But aside from that, yeah, I don't know. For my pick would be for the Jurassic Express. It's just, it's the dinosaur. Come on, you can't go wrong.
I know. Honestly, I would never go against it, but it's the Bucks, and they are one of the greatest tag teams out there right now. With Jurassic, I have to say it, even though somebody's going to say that's blasphemy, how dare you? They're not incredible as a team.
I guess you can make the exception with Jungle Boy. I mean, Jungle Boy, he's okay, but he's not, the greatest.
No, which is
Granted, he being the son of Luke Perry, I understand, very talented guy, but he's not, really that much of a team player. I mean, mainly he's just carried on the shoulders of Luchasaurus, who's like the powerhouse of the team. And I don't know, this is actually kind of difficult now because if it's just going to be Luchasaurus cleaning house, that'd actually be bad for Jurassic Express. Kind of seem early, it's like, oh, well, Luchasaurus is going to, sweep up the rug with the Young Bucks. Why is he still hanging out with these guys?
But to be fair, the only reason why I'm picking the Bucks specifically in this instance is tag team psychology. And I know a lot of people are going to give them shit and say they don't have tag team psychology. When it comes to a pay-per-view match, yes, they do. When it comes to just a regular house show, who gives a shit? They try to make everything entertaining, which is important.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Let's get on with the next card in the match. Which would it be? Because I know this seems out of order from the list I got here.
You know what? Honestly, we might as well just go into the Hardy versus Sammy. Because even if it's out of order, it can be placed in such a way where James can follow the outline that he has set up to save time.
So, yeah.
I have to give it to Hardy because it makes the most sense now. Because that way him and Sammy are even, and it would just kind of keep the playing field going.
Oh, obviously true. I mean, Hardy, he's got so much to lose in this opportunity here because apparently if he loses, then he leaves AEW, and that would be too soon for him. I don't know if that's actually
already
true,
showed up.
But yeah, I mean, like as you said, I mean, Hardy just showed up to AEW. It'd be a huge loss if he were to leave right now.
Especially since his contract is like literally just started. What would be the point of him leaving already?
Yeah. I really like the feud that they've got going on between him and him. Like, I didn't expect like a chair botch would actually work in a way. But hey, there have been other botches that ended up being good feuds for a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the important bit with wrestling is that you can make a botch into something important.
Mm-hmm.
If need be. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Hardy for the simple principle that him leaving this early doesn't make any sense strategically as a company, unless it's one of those he has asked for this leave in order to do other things. But
True.
yeah, I feel like doing that would just be kind of silly.
Yeah, honestly. Before we go any further, I have to ask: did you watch Thursday's episode of AEW?
Yes. Yeah, I actually have been getting at least some format of caught up before the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay, good.
Like, if I can't watch the episode, then what I'll do is I'll try to find an online review and just try to maintain something. But I have the episodes recorded anyway on my DVR at home.
Oh, that's
just
good.
In case.
Yeah.
Just so that way they get the view.
All right, just making sure like we're all on the same page here.
Yep.
All right, and the next match, we'll be looking at the Dark Order versus Matt Cardona. For those who don't know, it was Zack Ryder from WWE, teaming up with Scorpio Sky and the Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall.
Oh. I'm going to have to probably give it to... I don't know. I'm probably going to have to give it to the Dark Order because I feel like they need the win at this point. It make the most sense.
I will counter that, but say Matt Cardona with Scorpio Sky and the Natural Nightmares because we haven't seen a whole lot of Matt Cardona lately. I mean, I think he's been in one match, but I like to see more of what he can do. And I also want to give Scorpio Sky a chance because I feel like he's an underdog that is slowly climbing up the ranks, and I appreciate what he's doing.
You know what? You're right. But I want to go with the Dark Order for the fact that I feel like this night in particular is going to be a heel succession in some formative way.
Yeah, I understand. And plus, the Dark Order actually need a win anyway. I mean, they can't rely anything on Brody Lee.
Even though he's good.
Oh, definitely good. But I feel like they need something to do. Yeah, you can have a leader that is good and can win, but you can't have a team that always just loses. So that's just kind of difficult here. But anyway, I still pick with my choice with Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and the Natural Nightmares because I feel like
Honestly,
losing.
you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. Now that I'm thinking about it, because okay, here's what I think might happen. The Dark Order has the ability to do heel bullshit to win, but you have at least two well-known veterans on one side, unlike the other. It would not make any sense to have at least a new guy, a part of the new group, to try to take out the Dark Order to lose this early for no fucking reason.
Yeah, true. But we will see. So you are still going to be choosing the Dark Order, or are you going to do a little switcheroo?
No, I'm probably gonna go with the switcheroo on this one.
Okay. So
now that I have the chance to like actually think about it a little bit more, yeah, I think it would make the most sense because you're absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're both choosing the opposite team of Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and Natural Nightmares. The fifth match. Ooh, this is actually a big one. I think this is what James has wrote. Participants that could be in that have not been announced yet. Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Joe Janela, Sonny Kiss, Marco Stunt, Brandon Cutler, Austin Gunn, Jack Evans, Kip Sabian, Angelico, Michael Nakazawa, Pac, and Jeff Cobb, although he's more unlikely not going to be in the Battle Royale. Oh, right. Is there going to be a Battle Royale?
I'm not sure about that. I could ask more than anything else, but I don't think there will be, because what would be the point of doing another Battle Royale after all this time?
True. But here are the participants that are announced for the 21-man Casino Battle Royale for the opportunity for the AEW Championship. Billy Gunn, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, The Butcher, The Blade, Eddie Kingston, Jake Hager, Chuck Taylor, Trent, Santana, Ortiz, Serpentago, Sean Spears, and Darby Allin. This may be difficult to choose because I know a couple of them that really need a spot for the AEW Championship. And I think I know one.
I'm going to have to give it to Darby. That match just writes itself for how good it can be booked. Plus, he already put Cody up against the ropes like months back, so why the fuck wouldn't you do it? That just prints money.
True, but he's already had a match with Jon Moxley, but I would like to see a rematch, though.
I think that might be a little bit early, now that I'm thinking about it. That's a little early to do.
I was also thinking of that, too. In fact, he was actually my second choice.
I wouldn't do Pac. I wouldn't do Michael Nakazawa. I wouldn't do Austin Gunn. I wouldn't do Brandon Cutler because it doesn't make any sense. Marco would not deserve the opportunity. It's either Kaz, Christopher Daniels. I don't see Jeff Cobb.
Honestly, here's my pick for the AEW Championship opportunity. Lance Archer. Like, imagine the booking between Lance Archer and Jon Moxley if Moxley were to retain. That would be a slaughter fest right there.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Cage, yeah, maybe he would be my number two, I guess.
But would you do Brian Cage this early? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and plus Moxley already knows his weakness, so this that actually wouldn't be a really good idea. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick with my first choice, which would be Lance Archer, because God knows he needs a title opportunity at this point. And I'm guessing you're going to choose the same one?
Yeah, I'm honestly going to have to choose the same one at this point, even though I don't want to. It makes the most sense. You have a very compelling argument.
Okay, then. So Lance Archer to win the 21-man Casino Battle Royale. If James asks us who will be like our number two pick, We can just give him like just
I'm
in
gonna.
case if
My
he wants
number
us to
2
make.
pick is going to be Christopher Daniels. My number 3 is going to be Kazarian for the fact that Kaz or Daniels, either or, are the perfect choice to go up against Moxley for the fact that they have years of history in
True,
TNA
true.
Impact and all these other companies, proving that they can go the distance.
Oh, true. For
They
me,
can,
it's.
they can go the fucking distance.
Oh, true, true. For me, for my number 2, Jake Hager, and number 3, I'm gonna have to agree with you on Kaz. I feel like that would be a really good fight between those two. But just in case, if he is going to be in the 21 Battle Royal, if not, then I'll change it to Darby.
Fair.
And yeah, hopefully James will get into that, and if he makes that list. But yeah, those are our choices for the 21-man Casino Battle Royale. Sixth match is the AEW Women's Championship. Hikaru Shida, who's the current AEW champion, versus the NWA Women's World Champion, Thunder Rosa. I don't know if Thunder Rosa is going to be staying in AEW for long because, again, she is the NWA championship. So I don't know if maybe she's there on like a joint thing where she's working for both AEW and NWA. And honestly, a double champion for 2 different companies would actually better the character that way. If a brand split, that is. But
True, but if it's a versus thing, for respect, honestly, for respect, because of the history that Cody has with NWA, because that's where his father comes from. I see Thunder Rosa walking away maybe with the world heavyweight, with the women's championship. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm making a blind guess in a fucking dark tunnel right now.
Sure. I'm gonna play it safe and say Hikaru Shida will retain the championship. I know probably Thunder Rosa will probably win, but just to play it safe, just to make sure that hopefully.
No, it's a fair choice. I'm just putting it in from the perspective of, I mean, you can never get a more famous name out of the NWA than fucking Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, true.
So I think Thunder, just for the respect value, so that way they can start doing more stuff with NWA, and hopefully this is just my opinion, start working out more contracts to start doing joint shows, so that way both of these companies could start making some serious fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now with World Wrestling Entertainment the way that it is, it's time to strike while the iron is at its hottest.
True. All right. Moving on is going to be the AEW Tag Team Championship. Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus FTR with Tully Blanchard. I am definitely choosing FTR for this one. Now, the fact that Adam Page has been kicked off of the Elites, and knowing that he's probably going to turn heel and probably join sides with FTR if they win the championships, I feel like this would be a good opportunity for Kenny Omega and Adam Page to just split for good.
Agreed. Let's see.
I mean, honestly, that arguments, the Young Bucks they had with Adam Page at the end, it just foreshadows. The story writes it for itself, where the glass shattering close up on Adam Page's face, it works.
I'm gonna say FTR because you can easily turn Page heel.
Oh, true.
Honestly, you turning him heel and turning Omega face for a while, and then having Omega turn heel. I think Omega heel is fantastic. I think it's some of the best work he's ever done is when he's heel.
Oh, true. And he's actually starting to become his heel, like slowly, little by little, which is actually fascinating. At first, it was weird just watching him like beat his opponent senseless after he wins the match, but now it's actually starting to be a pretty good turn.
I think they're gonna turn him heel, have the Bucks try to do their thing with Hangman for a little while. And honestly, FTR having God, who are the two members in FTR? I don't remember off the top of my head, and I hate it. I know Sean Spears is one of them.
Yeah, Sean Spears.
Who's the other one?
You know what? I can look that up right now.
Yeah, if you don't mind, because my fucking mind is. It's been a long fucking day today. I woke up at like 6 o'clock this morning because I went, what? And I'm up.
Oh yeah, true.
As soon as that head comes off the pillow, it's game over. It's game over.
So the two members are Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
And
Scott Dawson. Wow.
Well, because if Tully's managing that shit, then it obviously makes the most sense to try to turn Omega heel and keep Hangman face for several important reasons.
You know what would actually be a good idea, now thinking about it, if FTR were to win, and having Tully Blanchard's mindset behind all this, and it's something you brought up, I think on the last Indy Force or Extra. I have a suspicion, and it's probably true, that Tully Blanchard wants to recreate the Four Horsemen.
Why wouldn't you? Why not do it with if you can get him to do it? Why not grab MJF and turn him into the Ric Flair of the group, and turn Sean Spears into Arn Anderson?
That could work. Yeah, I would definitely see that. But then again, you would get Hangman Adam Page into it. So who would he be?
I wouldn't actually put Adam Page into the Four Horsemen, because you already have the entirety of the Four Horsemen. Think about it. You have FTR.
True.
You have FTR. All you need is, because Sean Spears is already with Tully Blanchard, and then you would just need to grab MJF, and then you're done. It would make the most sense personally because of the fact of how fucking good of a heel he is, and the fact that he's the type of heel that goes, you're a big shitter, you know it.
Yeah. Though it would be kind of challenging to bring MJF into the fold, because he's already working really well being like running for a campaign on the new AEW Championship, which is actually really good.
That's why you have to take your time. Give him a reason to do it. Make Tully give him a fucking offer that he can't refuse of going for the World Heavyweight title.
Oh, true, obviously. The second and the last match we got on the card is the Mimosa Mayhem match between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. This is going to be a best of 3 between the two, and to call it down the line, I'm going to say Jericho is going to take this.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the same thing as well. I mean, I understand where they're going with it for very obvious reasons, but it's one of those, it makes more sense to not try to fan the flames and just do what you're doing.
Obviously. And the fact that this was Jericho's idea, and having him lose on an idea he made to make the other guy look good, I feel like that's kind of giving it too much. So by having Jericho win, he can finally just end the feud with him, and that he's capable of fighting anyone, and he's someone to be taken seriously this time around. But yeah, in this match, we don't know a whole lot of it. So again, Jericho is the type of person that will use the tactic of heel bullshit. So it is a 100% possibility that he'll be fucking up somehow that will earn him the win. And
Agreed.
I think the perfect way to end that match is just not by pinfall, not submission, but simply just throwing him into the Mimosa. Just once. So we can actually see what's it about.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of creating a Mimosa match if you're not going to use it, you know? That'd be a waste. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think honestly, I have to somewhat agree with you on this point, just because of some obvious reasons.
True.
And it's primarily, it's like, if Jericho fucking invented the match, having him lose the match that he invented kind of makes it go, then what was the fucking point of, why not just make it a normal ass match if he loses?
Yeah, that would.
I mean, that's the Undertaker making the fucking casket match and then having him lose the first one ever.
Yeah, that would be pretty poor. But, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully one day that gimmick will be brought again in the near future. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be a different type of stipulation, but I don't know. We're excited for it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
After you, good sir. We have one last one, and it's the big one, which is Jon Moxley finally going up against MJF.
I think it's a 60-minute time limit, correct? Or is it until...
It's a 60-minute time limit.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put everything on the table that needs to be brought up. I have to say it the way that I have to say it. Fuck. I personally think that, and this is just my perspective on it, that Moxley has to retain the belt. It would be, I wouldn't call it idiotic, but somewhat moronic to have him lose this title to a heel this quickly. He's been champion for how long now?
He's been champion since, Revolution?
Yeah, he's been champion for at least a couple months.
Yeah.
I having him lose at this pay-per-view instead of like their big event of the year would kind of make it feel unimportant. I wouldn't say unimportant because it feels like a very strong word. It would make it feel not interesting. Like, what was the point of the title run? And having Moxley do all the shit that he does, which, by the way, nobody is shocked that Moxley is the #1 wrestler of the year of 2020.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
He is so much better than what he was in WWE. And I know that there are other WWE fans out there that will go, "What are you talking about? Dean Ambrose? He's like being Dean Ambrose again. He's Dean Ambrose." It's like, okay,
yeah, but this is Dean Ambrose unhinged, without a leash.
No, he's Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
You need to stop trying to do the comparison because he is not. He is himself. He is no longer just the coin a catchphrase character that we've seen in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that anymore. And it's for the best. I know a lot of people are sitting there going, yeah, but he's like one of the most important members of the Shield. He was a lunatic fringe. He was this, he was that. It's like, stop. Every time that you say shit like this and put this shit up like this online, what do you think that does to somebody like him who's just trying to move past all of that and focus on his future?
Yeah, he just wants to do his own thing. I mean, he doesn't want anyone dragging him down, talking, hey, remember when you were this guy in this show and you did the same thing that you're doing now from back then? Wow, why are you changing things? Like, enough. Let the guy do his own thing.
It's
in fact,
not like
he's actually better than what he was when he was.
Yes, because he's a threat now. He wasn't just, oh, he does goofy things. He does wacky, quirky things. Look at how wacky and goofy he is. I have no problem putting you head first into this glass fucking table because you're pissing me off.
Indeed.
And that's what I think is important.
True. Honestly,
That's the big. I know that we're not really talking about MJF because what the fuck else can we add to MJF's character? It's the best heel run I've seen in the past 10 years.
Yeah, I was actually going to offer some input for MJF. Like, he's the guy that thinks that he wants everything on a silver platter. He's the guy with the muscle, the guy who looks like he has the money, the power. He's the power-hungry young kid who, of course, will probably use heel bullshit for heel bullshit reasons, and he's got Wardlow to fuck everything up and the ring. But honestly, he's like a mini Ric Flair.
I wouldn't even call him Ric Flair because Flair had his limits of what he was willing to do in the character.
Yeah.
And you and I could both agree to that. Flair had limits. MJF, so far from what I've seen, throws the fucking limits right out the window. He's taking Flair's moniker of being the cocky, egotistical heel and mixing it in with another heel persona that works incredibly well with him.
Absolutely.
He has become, at least when it comes to how he acts as a character, when the 24-hour heel moniker. And the only people that get to see the real him are his family. And obviously some of the people that he works with, because you can't be a dickhead constantly to your coworkers, or they're just going to be like, I don't want to fucking deal with him tonight. I get what he's going for, but I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, true. Like,
So,
if you want, only do it, like, on camera, just so you can get that point across where, yeah, you're the heel, but off camera, just, you know, remember, be true
classic
to yourself.
to like the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
The original lunatic himself, the psychopath, high-flying Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
Nikos, if you ever want one of the greatest debuts ever, Brian Pillman, ECW. The guy never wrestled there.
I'll definitely check him out.
Just to give the example.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say Moxley for my pick.
I also have to agree with you. I feel like Moxley,
I think that he
needs to keep that undefeated streak going
No.
until someone who really deserves it.
It's not about Moxley's title. It's about taking it and showing it off in front of Cody. Well, then.
Now,
Nikos, you still there? I can't really hear you, brother.
yeah, I'm still here. I was actually going to ask, how would you make John Moxley lose? Like, who do you think would be a perfect contender for him to lose? Like, if there's anyone from the 21 Battle Royale to win, that's fine, but, you know, we'll see when that time comes. But in your own fantasy idea, who do you think is the prime candidate to beat Moxley for the championship? It could be anyone.
Somebody who can match his brutality. Somebody who can keep going with him. And somebody who can keep on his ass as much as he stays on other people. And they obviously don't have to be in AEW, correct?
Not in AEW. It could be anyone.
Okay.
Could be a free agent for all we know.
Let's see. Somebody who can match his craziness, his attitude. Somebody that can go around with him and not have a problem. Fuck, that's a hard choice, honestly. There's a lot of, like, very decent contenders to go after him.
I got one.
Shoot.
But
Sure, who cares?
might be, might be debatable, but I feel like it's a good idea to bring him back just one last time. Punk.
I wouldn't disagree except for one thing. The guy hasn't wrestled in about 5 years.
Oh, true. But of course, I can imagine he's been practicing little by little, something we don't really know.
True. Moxley. Who the fuck could fight John Moxley and give him a run for his money? Honestly, it's kind of a dream match of mine because of how it works. I really want to see him go toe-to-toe with Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer.
I know it's not somebody taking the title off of him, but if I had to pick my dream match, it's him versus Tommy Dreamer. The ultimate babyface. Let's put that in perspective. The ultimate babyface in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Dreamer, the guy who has dealt with the Dudleys, has dealt with Raven, has fucking been through hell and back in ECW. And I feel like that passing of the torch moment, specifically for me, is him fighting Dreamer and going one-on-one.
Oh yeah, I can see
It's
that.
one of those. They already have Dreamer ready to go if they ever need him. He absolutely would work with John to give a match from hell if needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them at their physical best.
True.
I want Dreamer to be at his best, and I want Moxley at his best.
Oh, true. And I would like the same thing for Punk if he ever one day comes to AEW.
As I said, that was my one thing with Punk, is that the fact that he has not been in the ring in about 5 years. He has not been in the ring in a long fucking time.
But I feel like it would be a good idea for him to redeem himself after that whole debacle he had with MMA and his debut loss. I feel like that's something he has to earn back.
I wouldn't say earn it, but dude, saying that he owes anybody anything is just stupid. That's like being the WWE. That's like being the WWE casual fan and saying Punk owes me a match. No, he doesn't. He doesn't owe you shit at the end of the day.
Yeah,
You went
I was saying that maybe he owes something for himself and not to anyone else.
that could be true. But I feel like if you're going to have Moxley go up against anybody, it's either Tommy Dreamer or a young upstart who has a lot to prove. Somebody who can match him fucking move for move and keep going. Even to the worst of it. I wouldn't have him lose to somebody like Brian Cage. I feel like that's too easy. Having him get beat up by the big muscular dude is just kind of goofy.
Yep.
And I'm only saying this from the perspective of working on you know what and going, how the fuck do we end this properly? And it's not about muscle, it's about lasting. A championship title match is not about how strong the opponent is, what crazy bullshit they can pull out. It's about lasting.
Yeah.
As I will tell you, and as I told James, one of the greatest matches as a kid I've ever seen, a little bit different now because I'm a little bit older, was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart for the World Heavyweight title.
Oh yeah, true.
Do you know how long? Do you know how long they went for?
I think it was almost an hour, right? Or was it half an hour?
They went past an hour. It's a slow match, but it shows that if you're going to be World Heavyweight Champion, you need to be able to last an hour against your opponent at all times.
True.
So, okay, you pick Punk, I pick Dreamer. Or next best thing, a young upstart who has a lot to prove.
I would imagine it'd be someone from MLW.
Maybe it will be somebody that he knows in CZW.
Yeah. Oh god, imagine bring someone from CCW and versus Mox. Oh god, that'd be a bloodbath.
They already did it. It was called Joey Janela.
Oh right.
Joey's from MLW. Or sorry, CZW.
Yeah, CCW.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people could sit there and say, well, Cody would be a good choice. Or, hell, you can grab anybody. But personally, for me, as a match, not as a victory for fucking the person facing him, just as a dream match for myself, Dreamer versus him is fantastic. If anybody's going to fucking strip the title off of Moxley, it's going to be Okada, if they could ever get him to do it.
Oh, God, Okada.
Because Okada can go to war.
And possibly win the war, too.
Yeah, Okada can fucking go. He has some of the greatest matches of all time. And I will 100% say he's the greatest Japanese wrestler of this current decade. If not, the past 2 decades.
Absolutely.
The only person that goes on top of him is fucking Mitsuharu Misawa. And that's because he's fucking Misawa. He was Tiger Mask. The guy could go for hours if need be. And when he was in his least physical shape he's ever been in, he could still go for 35 minutes if need be. He could still go in a match.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, why don't we let the other 2 dipshits figure out what they want to do?
True. There is something I wasn't actually mentioned in the the predictions, which would have been an okay match, but it's like one of those matches that could be a little interesting. Maybe a match that would be like a steady beat. I'm surprised no one challenged Brody Lee for the TNT Championship.
I think they're saving that because you don't want to overfill your card. You don't want to pull what we did for Immortal, and overfill the card and run out of time. Even though we didn't have a time limit, we set a time limit for ourselves.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
It'd be good for Brody to get a little break now and then.
True. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here. I don't know if the other two have already finished the video or where this is going to be placed, but hey, since we're doing the parody of it, I'm with the Lionheart himself, Mike Nikos, and I'm the Executioner, Michael X, and we are the Wolfpack coming back for mass destruction because we are the bad boys of wrestling.
We are indeed.
See you, folks.
See ya. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Pieces of blood, enormous